Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Uncivil Law, where we learn through the misfortunes of others. As always, I'm your host, Uncivil Law, a licensed attorney in Texas, Virginia, and before the U.S. Supreme Court, and we are back with more coverage of the James Crumbley trial for this afternoon session. And I'm excited to be covering it with you and me together, and I hope you're excited too. For those of you who joined the impromptu Cooking with Kurt, I hope you enjoyed that as well. That was fun. It was nice. Obviously, my groceries arrived, so that's nice. And things are going good. I obviously didn't make it to Micro Center, however, because groceries. So we might have power outage again. Hopefully not. But I couldn't do both. You guys were like, go to Micro Center, and I actually was on my way to Micro Center. I was like, wait a second. I couldn't go to Micro Center. I have a delivery of food coming. You guys almost tried to trick me out of my food delivery. I'm blaming you collectively. You're very, very bad people. Let's see. So I can delete this upcoming stream, as we're not doing that anymore. Great. All right. So that deletes the other Cooking with Kurt stream that was accidentally created. Cool. All right. Yeah. As to comments that are disappearing or not disappearing, I couldn't speak to that issue. When the stream is not started, the bot isn't even working. So it's not the bot, because the bots don't join until the stream joins. So if your comments are deleting or disappearing, then either one, the mods are taking action, or two, YouTube is taking action. And I don't think it was the mods. So that's where we're sitting. So our quest for a UPS will have to continue for another day. I was looking at one of you guys emailed me one, is like, this is $299. I'm like, that's okay. Like, that's a little bit much for my taste. But I was looking at one from a company called CyberPower. Got 5,980 ratings on Amazon. That's a 900 watt, 12 outlet. So I was thinking about maybe getting that one for $189. You didn't see Cooking with Kurt? It should have been on this channel. Hopefully. I was streaming to somebody. Yeah. You can go back and watch it if you like. We made a, what exactly are we calling this? Hold on. Let me look up what the recipe was called. List. Recipes, there it is. We're calling this a caprese zucchini casserole. So, it was also supposed to include onion. I could take it out of there and throw the onion in. Yeah, it was supposed to include onion. If I'm going to add stuff, I have to add stuff quick, because it's in the process of baking as we speak. I could just slice some onion and throw it on top real fast. All right, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go chop up some onion and throw it on top real fast. All right, hold on. Yeah. Don't do it. It'll be fine. Yeah, I'll just cut some thin sliced onion and just throw it on top. It'll be fine. I'll be right back. Don't misbehave in my absence, please. Glass up and up. One sweet onion. One sweet onion. Chopping. 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 Chopping machine. Sorry. Yeah. Chopped up. Yeah. Bell peppered. Damn. Bell peppered. Now, do I need a whole onion? Question is, do I need to call it up the whole onion or only half will do? That's the real question. Do I chop up the whole onion or only half? The whole onion, you think? The whole baby? The whole thing for that thing? You think the whole thing? The whole? What does the recipe say? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The recipe said a half cup of shallots. Don't worry about it. Whole onion? Great. All right, we'll put the whole onion. Okay, thanks. Be right back. Then push it down and bam! Bell pepper. Bam! Bell pepper. Bam! 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 Bell peppered. How's the trial going? Still not going? Great. Good to trial still not happening to me. That's because they know cooking with Kurt is not waiting for Kurt. Start the trial. Back in the oven. Trial has started. Trial have to clean it up again. I already did it because I did my cooking. All right, I got onion fragments all over my floor, so I'll sweep at a later time. Bam! Bell peppered. What am I making? I am making a caprese zucchini casserole. Zucchini, tomato, onion, basil, and mozzarella cheese with olive oil, balsamic vinegar, salt, and pepper. See, I get back, and that's when they bring James in. I told you, man, they were waiting for me. The moment I sit down, man, that's when they bring James in. The court are fans of cooking with Kurt, man. It's a glorious thing, man. What was caprese? I think you can pronounce it either way, but I'll let the Italians decide for sure. What timing? What timing? So I just chopped up the entire onion and just put it on top. And then put it back in the oven for another 15 minutes. It had been cooking for 15, but just put it back in for the whole thing for 15 minutes, so it'll be fine. I saw there was a vote against the cyber power. Someone said it was trash. I could always do the Amazon Basic one, which is the same cost. I could do cyber power.
All right.
Cyber power has a high failure rate. Recap on the trial so far. James looks really, really guilty. The recap is that James bought the weapon for his son, and a mass shooting occurred, and the home was really, really small, and they could hear everything and stuff. And the gun was unsecured and not locked. The only lock they found, period, apparently, was the unused cable lock. They found no other locks for the gun. The case was set to all zeros, default, so not secured. That's kind of the situation we're at so far. Yeah, no, yeah, you have yet to be disappointed with Amazon Basic. There you go. So maybe I'll just do Amazon Basic. I don't believe they're required to lock the gun. No, they weren't. They weren't required to lock the gun in and of itself, no. But that can be a factor that might show recklessness, because recklessness just generally is conscious disregard of a known risk. So it's not illegal in and of itself. It is now, but it wasn't at the time. But it still can be an element of another crime, which it is in this case.
William Freer.
APC and trip light. Let's see what it can do. APC? All right.
Yes.
And then would you state your name for records and your first?
Record, my name is William Creer. First name's common spelling. Last name spelled C-R-E-E-R.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Mr. Greer, I just want to acknowledge that
APC
you just came from a very long shift, so you're a little tired.
900 watt
so we're
for
not gonna keep you on the stand very long.
$169.
Can you tell
looks
us
good.
what your job is?
No problem. I'm a forensic technician for the Detroit Police Department. You can kind of call it a crime scene
Looks good.
investigator. My job is to go to the crime scenes, take pictures, collect evidence.
Is there a law that states all firearms have to be locked up? There is now.
generate a report, and testify.
There wasn't at the time.
Okay, so as your job as a crime scene, would you say investigator?
That's fine.
Okay, it's important to distinguish. Are you a member actually of law enforcement?
I work for law enforcement, yes.
All right. Are you considered a police officer?
No, I'm not.
All right. Is that then, would you consider yourself a civilian?
Yes.
All right. How long have you worked as a crime scene investigator?
20 years.
And all of those years have you worked for the Detroit Police Department?
Yes, sir.
I want to draw your attention to December 4th of 2021. Were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
And are you on shifts?
Navy uses
or are you
APC?
on call? How does that work?
We're on shifts. My shift I currently work on is from 12 a.m. to 8. 12 a.m. to 8 a.m.
And are you at home during this time, or call when necessary, or are you actually in an office?
I'm in the office.
Okay. On December 4th, were you dispatched that day, if you know, to an address of 1111 Bellevue in Detroit?
Yes, it was.
Okay, do you know about what time you received that dispatch?
I believe around 2 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware if there was a search warrant that was being executed?
The request we got already was there was a search warrant executed at that location.
All right. And what were your initial thoughts when you were dispatched to the location about what your purpose there was?
All we knew at the time was a search warrant at the location. We really didn't know anything else about it previously until we pulled up.
All right. And when you pulled up, what was your observation?
Objection,
Why?
Honor, relevance. When he pulled up to the scene, overall.
Thank you.
A lot of news cameras around, so we were like, okay, this is interesting.
In addition to the news cameras, though,
All right, I can get this
what
one
was the scene
that's
like in terms of was law
900 watts for
enforcement already on
$169.
scene?
So I might get that
Did you
one.
know who was?
All right, guys,
what
thanks.
happened on that?
I could get the one that's,
At that time, we didn't still exactly have
live,
any of the real details.
but it's like $284.
And we were there.
It's a lot outside my budget.
When we pulled up, there was, of course, like we mentioned before, news cameras all around and heavy police presence.
All right, and then what happened?
Then
I'll
when
think
we
about it.
reached the scene, we talked to the officer in charge, and that's when we were notified what this case was actually involved with.
And what were you told?
That the case was involving Crumbley.
Can you just raise your voice just a little bit, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was trying to.
I knew you could speak louder.
No problem. Case was involving the shooting incident, and this was the location that search warrant was being authorized, and 2 people were arrested.
Is that all you were told?
Yes.
Okay. And were you directed to a certain part of the building?
Suite 130 of the location you mentioned.
The dad
Were
is
you by
charged with
yourself or with
involuntary
someone?
manslaughter.
And who's that?
The partner Stephanie Sparks.
Do you normally?
No, he's not in the Navy. We're just
follow the
discussing
scene,
UPSs.
By yourself or with another partner?
Midnight shooting process scenes with partners.
Okay. And once you arrived at the suite, were you and your partner the only one there? Were you the only ones there, or who else was there?
The scene was secured by the police, by the church police.
What does that mean, secure?
Means that that is secured so that way there's no outside interference coming inside the building, no one tampering with evidence, and everything is there as it was when the search warrant was executed.
And is that a typical thing and that you encounter in your job? That do you arrive to scenes once it's cleared and secured, or are you sometimes there at the same time? A lot's going on.
Oh no, we're there after the scene is secured.
Okay. So what is your job when you arrive on the scene that day?
When I arrive at the scene, we talk to the officer in charge of the scene. We then walk through the scene. He points out items of interest.
Remember to keep your voice up.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
He points out items of interest that you might want collected. My partner and I will then walk through the scenes. We'll also pay attention and see what's around. We then would suggest additional items if we need to collect, and allow us to look around a little bit more.
It's
And
extra
then, after that,
$100.
Take pictures, collect evidence, and package
Have it
that
live
start
line.
All right, Mr. Greer, is there a difference between collecting evidence and
I'll have to think about it.
searching?
Yes.
And are you assigned to do both?
It depends on the situation. Yeah, in this situation, we collected the evidence. The search warrant was already executed, and we looked around additionally.
All right, and what makes you start searching other places?
The fact that we looked around and they said, yeah, the OIC, I can't remember the name at the time, they were mentioning look around a little bit more.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Exhibits 306, 307, 309 through 320, 322 to 358. I believe these have all been admitted. Mr. Pierre, what is that?
That's the scene location.
All right. And,
Again, it's the north side of the scene location.
okay.
Again, we're at the north side of the scene location.
All right. Can you see the windows on the suite that you searched?
I believe the windows I'm seeing research because of the actual suite 130 is located on the northeast side of the building. So I would say the two windows closest to the left side of the street.
Okay. And then, do you know what this is?
Yes, the vehicle were directed to at the crime scene.
Oh, you also searched the vehicle?
No, we didn't search.
Okay.
We pictured it.
Okay, got it. What did you learn about the car? Anything? Did you pull up to take pictures of anything around the car, in the car?
We took pictures around the car, and then also around the car of cigarette butts.
You collected the cigarette butts?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is this a picture of?
Those are pictures of the cigarette butts.
All right, do you remember how many were there?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Did you bring a report with you today?
I did.
Would that refresh your recollection?
It would.
All right, you have to look at it and just let me know when you are ready to answer that question.
Collected a total of 14 cigarette butts.
Okay. Anything else around the car? Is that a picture? What are we looking at?
The picture is behind the vehicle and more cigarette butts.
And you collected those?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and 312 and then 313. What is that?
That's suit 130.
Okay. Is that researched?
Yes.
All right. And is that typical? You just take pictures of, what do you take pictures of as a matter of protocol?
No problem. We take pictures of the area. In this particular situation, that's the actual room number. So of course we took pictures of the front door and room number. As we enter through, we'll take pictures of see if there's any damage to the door, if any, if the door was breached, if it wasn't breached, if there was any damage at all.
Was there any damage to this door?
None observed.
Okay, and the next slide is 314. Do you recognize that?
Yes, that's the actual scene inside of the scene location number.
Okay. And then 315, is that also from a different angle?
Yes, as we enter the room, that would be to the north.
And those windows that we see, do you know where they face?
They are also facing north.
Would those be the windows you just pointed out in the previous slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is another angle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what's this?
This is directly in front of the door, so that would be to the east side of the door.
Did you observe a mattress in this building, in this room?
There was a mattress in
Do you see it in this picture?
You kind of see it towards the bottom of the screen. Yeah, right there.
Okay. And the next slide.
To the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you see the mattress with the drawers on top of it.
Oh, that's the mattress?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then I'm just going to show you some slides and pictures of the scene, and you can just describe what angle it is and what you see, if you see anything in significance to point out to the jury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, you see the mattress. You see the drawers. You also see going just to the right of the mattress.
Remember to keep your voice up a little bit.
Sorry. To the right of the mattress towards the edge of the screen, you see a table with 2 solo cups.
Right there?
Yes.
Okay. What is this?
Again, we're right at the mattress. At the, I guess that would be the left side of the mattress, you have some clothes and a baseball cap.
Okay, and the next slide. What's significant about this, if anything?
You got the mattress in the bottom right hand of the picture. Towards the left hand of the picture, right in front of the little shelving units on the floor, we have a Snipes clothing bag.
All right. And at some point, did you remove the items in the bag?
Yes, sir.
Is this the picture of those items?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jury what you found?
You see in the picture a few pairs of socks, receipt, sweatshirt.
And are the socks, do they appear to be worn or new?
Those are brand new.
All right. Do I see a receipt in that picture?
Yes, you do.
Okay. We're going to get to that in just a second. The next slide. What are we looking at?
You're looking just, that's the mattress to our right, and to the left there's some shelving units, but right in the middle there's a sweater.
Okay. Just for context, when you say right or left, when you're looking at this picture, where's the door?
Got you. The door would be to the west of the mattress.
So to the top right of the,
It'll be just to the, on the right side of the screen, towards the right border of the screen.
okay. And is that the article of clothing we just saw in the previous
Yes.
slide? Okay, what is it?
It's a sweater, as I mentioned before.
All right, do you know if it's male or female?
Looks like a female sweater.
Okay, and the next slide, where did this come from?
Right now, if I remember correctly, this is going to be towards the east side of the room, and that's a sweater, just a regular shirt. And you see further on a few pairs of other articles of clothing.
Okay. The next slide is, where is this in relation to the room?
In relation to the room, you see through the previous slide, there was a table. The table would be along the south
The
side.
table right next to the mattress with the solo cups?
Yes.
Okay,
This area is behind the table, and that's a pink book bag. It's was in a plastic tote container.
was the tote, did it have a lid on it, or was it without a lid?
It was what I lived when we arrived.
With or without?
Without.
Okay. Do you know, did anybody take the lid off, or was it found like that when the individuals were arrested?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation, I don't know how he would know that.
I started out with, do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. And was there anything else in this container other than the backpack?
I'd have to go further through the pictures.
Okay. What is this?
That's the table that is right in front of the tote book bag.
Okay, and can you tell the jury what was on this table?
You have foodstuffs like bananas, orange juice, a fertilizer bottle, a Coca-Cola bottle, solo cups.
All right. And the next slide.
Next side, we're right back at the tote of the book bag.
All right. And what's this?
This is the part where we're getting ready to go through the tote, through the book bag that we just pulled out of the tote.
And what do you see? I'm sorry. What did you find in the backpack?
Okay, to the left of the book bag, towards the top of the screen, you have a smaller little bag, and you also, as we're going to go progress through the pictures, you're going to see various articles of clothing. as well.
Okay. Next slide.
Again, we're going through progressing through the pictures. You have various articles of clothing, and you still have that little smaller bag right there on top of the book bag.
Was there anything in that bag?
I have to look at my report the first one.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't believe that's the right first. Can we progress through the pictures?
Sure, sure. What's to the left on there?
To the left, you have a pair of black jeans.
Do you know if they're male or female?
I believe they're female.
All right. And the next slide is 332. What is that a picture of?
Another picture, it's another picture of the black jeans.
Okay. And the slide after that?
You see the brand of the jeans. You see their high-rise skinny stretch jeans, and you can see the size on the tag if you zoom in.
All right.
Size 12.
Okay. And the next slide? Where were these articles found?
Those articles are inside the pink book bag.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what is in that picture?
And inside the picture, you have you see a syringe. I'd have to go through my notes to recall what was actually inside the syringe. You also have some pills just at the bottom of the screen, and then on the inside of the bag, you also see a bank envelope.
A what?
A bank envelope.
A bank envelope. Okay. Do you know what the pills were for?
The
Or what they
journal
were?
should be
Not
hearsay
off the top of my head.
and should be excluded.
Perfect.
Okay. Yes.
That should be the answer, as best as I can determine. But it
And
doesn't
why
seem
you
to be
doing
the
that?
answer for some
Would it
reason.
refresh your recollection about the syringe?
Yes,
Okay.
I would call that definitely.
Okay.
The admission of the journal continues to perplex me. It also perplexes MLS, making law simple. We've discussed it. Neither one of us understand it. This is a bad sign. It's not that we disagree with it, I suppose, as much as we just can't figure out for the life of us what she's thinking. We don't get it. It's like, how are you coming to these conclusions? We're very confused over here.
Okay, the syringe was the exceed.
I keep hoping somehow it makes sense and I'm just missing something.
Okay.
That's
But,
the syringe that you see in the picture.
I haven't
inside
figured
the
it out
bag.
yet.
And I don't have a description of the pills.
Okay, in the next slide, do you see a better description of the back of the pills there?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes, either like caffeine pills or something like that.
Vivarin?
Yes.
All right, in the next slide, that's what you just talked about.
Yes, sir.
All right. And what is this?
Those are those articles of clothing, not a striper.
And can you list those?
They are female intimate garments, underwear and bras.
And do you know how many pair of underwear?
Now it's on my head.
Okay. In the next slide, what is that?
That is the hotel room key. It was inside a black jacket, and that was along with the Northeast Corner.
Is it an appeal
Okay.
issue? Yeah, I would think
And
so.
The next slide is
It's
339.
a pretty big piece of the
It's
evidence.
a picture of a whiskey container. It's in a garbage.
That seems like a pretty big issue.
And the next slide is a receipt. What is this receipt for?
So unless I'm missing something, it's a pretty solid ground for appeal. I'm not saying the appeal will be granted if I'm right, but I'm like, it's pretty hard to. It's a pretty big piece of evidence.
The next picture also has the date on the receipt as well.
What is this?
That is.
I really should dig in the case file and see if I can find an opinion from the judge where she
Okay.
explains it to
I
me.
remember the last time you testified.
And maybe
you
it'll
weren't
make
sure what that
sense
was.
somehow.
I've since learned it was enough.
I assume there's got to be a decision on the docket
what else
relating
is
to
in that
admission and
picture?
eliminate
Yeah.
somewhere.
It's
If I scour through the docket hard enough, I'll find it.
similar to what you would use for like maybe
Lasagna?
Lasagna.
But I don't
Okay,
have the
and
time
what's
right
inside
now
it?
because I actually have legal work to do, so I don't have the time.
Ice.
So was it completely melted or was it still cold?
At the time, it was completely melted. Yeah, at the time, it was completely melted.
Was it still cold?
No,
Okay. The next slide. What is this?
it's a receipt.
Is it the receipt that we just talked about at Rivertown?
I will have to look at the picture before because as you see at the top of the receipt, it has 14, and on a previous picture,
Yeah, it's $1 per page to get those filings, so that's fun too. Speaking of which, whatever happened to those filings, I asked someone to get for me in Vegas.
Okay.
Now that I think about
And
it.
what's the date on that?
the date on
They
the
ever
receipt
get
is
them for me?
2021.
Hold
And
on.
at the time you are searching this, is
I asked someone to get some records in
it
Vegas for me.
December 3rd or December 4th?
I owe them $20, but I'm not sure they ever
Okay.
gave me the records
And
in the first
is it-
place. I'm
and
confused.
The actual
Hold
time
on.
of the purchase?
409, yeah.
Okay. The next slide is, what is it?
Yeah, this picture of the mattress we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Uh,
The next slide is 344.
okay.
Tell the jury what this is and why you took a picture of it.
This is a picture of the totes that will be around the east side of the room. The reason why we took pictures of the totes is because we saw the one tote that was already open before.
I'm gonna have to pay them a lot more than
These totes look
$20
kinda
because it's been such a
funny
pain in the
or
ass to
kinda
get it.
Just looked like they kind of was messed with or jostled with at the time. So we decided to take pictures of it.
Okay, and just so that the jury understands, I want to go back to slide 14. You feel that number? To show
Why is
here.
it relevant? This is where we found them, right? So it's just describing where we found them, and you know, it's relevant. I suppose it's relevant
Okay.
to
So do I have this right? There were
fleeing,
two
which is
separate
evidence of
plastic
guilt.
totes that you found, you discovered items in?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's
And
relevant in
were
that
they
way.
found in the same place?
No.
All right. You testified earlier that the tote with the pink backpack, where did you find that?
The tote with the pink backpack, if you go through the picture, you see the table just to the left side of the screen in that corner. That's where the one tote with the pink bag is located.
So how far away from the mattress?
It's the mattress, table, and the tote.
Okay. So a foot, 2 feet?
He's diagnosed as a covert narcissist.
Okay.
I mean,
then
not
you
for
found-
nothing,
you
but he
said you
went up and
searched
shot up a school. How
discovered
covert
more
can he
items in a
be?
different tote.
Yes.
Where was that?
Seems like a pretty out in the open narcissist, but all right.
Scaffolding, whatever, holding the.
Not that I'm the one to disagree with the psychiatric community. Yeah.
Right there would be the next area of totes.
Okay, so is it on that scaffolding you found it?
Right behind.
Right
Right
behind,
behind the table.
right behind it.
Yes.
Okay. So was that visible when you walked into the room?
No, as you walk into the room, you look around. You know, during the search area.
Okay. So that tote that was found on the other side of the room, what was discovered, if anything, in that tote?
And that told that's where we found the purse with the money. As you go through.
Okay. One moment. Okay. Was the tote found in that condition? And I guess what I'm asking is, was there a lid on it?
You see the lid on it. As we take pictures, you see it we present. As we progress.
Okay. Next one. What is that?
Again, you see the toe being moved over a little bit. You see the purse.
Okay. What is this?
Yes, now we're looking inside the purse.
All right. And then the pictures, is this how you do it? You take a picture of the first item and then all of the things that you take out of it?
Yes, we have to take a regression.
Okay. Sorry, you told me that. All right. Next slide.
14.
What is this?
You see the bank envelopes. You see a search warrant on the bank envelopes. And you see the 2 bank envelopes as well top of it.
A search warrant. What is that?
As you see at the top of the screen is the warrant tabulation return.
Okay. And that was found in the bag or in the tote?
The bank envelopes were found in the purse. The search warrants were just on the table.
Okay. And then the next slide, what is that?
You're again looking inside the purse and you see cash right in the smaller pocket of the purse.
Was there anything in the bank envelopes?
Yes, there's money in the bank envelopes.
All right. And you see cash in this picture. Is this stuff in addition to what you found in the bank envelopes?
Yes.
Okay. And if you remember, and if not, you can look at your notes. How much total, what was the total amount of cash found in that handbag?
I'd have to look at the notes. I know it was around $6,000.
Do you want to just correct?
Yes.
Make sure you're correct.
$6,617.
Okay. And those are, we'll get to it. I'm not going to do that again. Okay, next slide. Let's just a close up.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The slide after this. This is exhibit 350, and there's kind of a lot going on in this picture. Can you explain to the jury what you see?
No problem. In the picture, you see 4 cell phones. One of the cell phones appears to be busted and broken. Those are the condition of the cell phones. Those are the condition of collected cell phones. You also see the keys just to the left of the cell phones. They were collected. They were turned over to the unit at the scene, so they can collect them in the car. You also see a bank card and some prescription medication just to the top of the bank, just to the top and left of the bank.
Okay, the next slide.
That's a closer picture of the keys.
And the bank card, is that a traditional bank card? You know.
No.
Okay. The next slide.
You have a closer picture of the medication I mentioned before.
And do you know what these medications were?
No. I see Adderall and 2 in particular.
Okay, and do you know who they're prescribed to?
You see Jennifer Crumbley on all 3. Well, you can see it better on the bottle to the right. In the other 2 bottles, you can kind of see Jennifer and Crumbley.
All right, and the next picture?
Again, it's a picture of the 4 cell phones.
Were any of these cell phones powered on?
No,
How do you know that?
because if they were, probably take pictures of the items in condition and you collect.
They were all off.
Exactly.
And then the next picture? What is this?
It's pictures of the money we collected from the purse.
So you actually lay out each bill?
Yes.
Okay. And the next photo?
More pictures of the money.
And then go through that.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last photo here is there was a receipt. Can you tell the jury what the time and date is on this receipt?
12/3/2021.
And what are the items listed?
Giant lasagna pan, Werner's 2-liter bottle, paper towel, Kleenex.
Okay, thank you. At what time do you estimate that the search was completed?
I have to look at my notes, definitely give it time.
Okay. For the sake of time, does it around 5 a.m. sound
Yeah,
right
around
to you?
5 a.m.
Okay, and then when you were done, what did you do?
We were directed to take pictures of the prisoners.
And is that a normal thing in your job?
Yeah, we were directed to, yes.
Okay, so where were these individuals located?
In Oakland County jail.
So did you drive straight to the jail?
We were directed to, yes.
Okay. As soon as you finished the search?
Yes.
Okay. And when you arrived at the Oakland County Jail, what did you do?
We took pictures of both the Crumbleys individually. First, we took pictures of Miss Crumbley first, and then Mr.
Okay. And what's the purpose of that?
The purpose of it was the fact that it showed any injuries that they're in, and the condition when they were arrested.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me through.
Sorry, I didn't hear the end of your response.
If there are any injuries or their condition when they were arrested.
Thank you.
Ross?
Yes, Your Honor. Briefly. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As a forensic technician, your role is to document what you see at a scene, correct?
Yes, ma'am?
Your role is not to investigate what may have occurred prior to your arrival.
No, ma'am.
You testified that when you arrived at 1111 Bellevue, that there were a lot of news cameras.
Yes.
There were a lot of law enforcement, if you recall.
Yes.
It was kind of a chaotic scene.
I wouldn't say chaotic, but it was the officer and cameras that scene.
You were told that you were notified, you were not notified what the case was involving before arriving at 1111 Bellevue. Is that correct?
Exactly.
You were only told that it was a shooting incident.
We were told that we were collecting for a search warrant.
For a shooting incident.
We were told we were collecting for a search warrant.
Okay, so you weren't told anything.
Again, as my report says on the first page, as you look at the first line, the information received request to process the scene of a search warrant and arrest at the address 1111 Bellevue in District 1 Dispatch.
And I thought that in your direct testimony with the prosecutor that you said that you were notified that the case was involving a shooting incident and that 2 people were arrested.
Just to clear up, I'm not sure at the time of when he was notified at the scene versus before he left. So I just want clarification.
Do you recall testifying in that way?
No, what I said, if we're talking about this specific time, was when we were informed from District 1 it was search warrant. When we arrived, that's when we understood it was connected to the shooting incident.
So after you arrived at 1111 Bellevue.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. You said that when you initially get to a scene, you walk through and the officer in charge points out items of interest that he or she wants collected.
Yes, sir.
And then you may also walk through with your partner and identify additional things.
Yes, ma'am.
And we saw some of those things today, like the tote that you ended up taking photos of where the purse was. Is that
Yes,
correct? You testified that you collected 14 cigarette butts. And you can look at your report if you'd like.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll stipulate he said 14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
And it's your understanding that, from your recollection, those cigarette butts were collected next to a Kia that we had a photograph of.
Yes, sir.
You testified that inside of the plastic bag, in exhibit, well, I believe it was exhibit 334, that there was a bank envelope. Looking at the bag now, do you see what that was?
The picture's kind of blurry, but it still looks like a bank.
Okay, it doesn't look like a business card?
To me, it looks like a bank envelope with the black spots on top.
Exhibit 339, the prosecutor asked you to look at the inside of a garbage can, if you recall, and there was a whiskey bottle inside the garbage can.
Yes.
You don't know how that whiskey bottle got there?
No.
You have no knowledge of how long it had been there?
No.
You have no information about it whatsoever?
No, all I know is the whiskey bottle garbage.
And you were just taking a photograph of what was on the scene when you got there?
Yes, ma'am.
In Exhibit 347, you talked about bank envelopes and a search warrant tabulation return, which was on a table.
Yes.
It wasn't hidden anywhere, correct?
The search warrant or
The tabulation was not hidden anywhere. It was just sitting on a table when you took the photograph?
yes.
And you completed the search that you arrived on scene around 2 a.m. and you were done around 5 a.m.?
Yes.
One moment, Your Honor. And the photographs that you took photographs of cash. You don't know what that cash was for. That's fair. Because again, you were just taking photographs of what was on the scene when you got there.
It was cash in the purse when I collected
Right.
it.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Just one point for clarification. You said you took pictures for, in case there were document any injuries. Did you?
Objection, Your Honor. I didn't ask anything about those photographs.
She did. I believe that she did. And if not, I'm offering some clarification.
Your Honor, I would object to any questions about the photographs that were taken of my client after he was arrested. I didn't ask anything about that on my cross.
I didn't see the scope across.
Okay. Is this
There you go.
excused?
Yes.
You don't hear that very often, but the judge actually said it's outside scope of cross. Good for her. Most judges would let that slide. I appreciate her exactness in it.
You are a lieutenant, correct? Could you raise your hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give is the truth?
Yeah, nice objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
Could you
Nice
stand up
ruling, too.
and speak? And
I'm
then
kind of
state your name
impressed
for the record.
the judge did that. I mean, she's supposed to, but
TIMOTY.
a lot of judges will let that slide, so it's kind of nice.
WILLIS.
May I proceed, Judge?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. How are you employed?
Detective Lieutenant with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office?
Approaching 28 years.
Okay. You said you're a detective lieutenant right now?
Yes.
Tell us please what that means.
I oversee a handful of divisions within the Sheriff's Office, the Special Investigations Unit, which I know we've mentioned at court, the Fugitive Apprehension Team, our Computer Crimes, which Detective Wodrowski had worked for, and our Warrants Division.
Okay. And we'll get into some of that in a little more detail. Is it fair to say that you're the officer in charge in this case, or one of the officers in charge?
Yes, that's fair to say.
Just to clear something up quickly, when James Crumbley was arrested on December the 4th, 2021, did he have any injuries?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Now, going back to your role as detective lieutenant, we've talked a little bit about the Special Investigative Unit. Can we talk a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us please, what sort of cases would a member of the Special Investigative Unit handle?
Yeah, so the Special Investigations Unit is a support services arm of the Sheriff's Office. So we take a lot of requests from other agencies, from our own substations. Oftentimes we handle political cases, complex cases, high-profile cases.
Yeah, since someone
things of
was
that nature.
asking
Okay. And
in
prior to your
a
current
redirect,
role,
you
what
can
other
only
roles did you have
ask
with the Oakland County Sheriff's
what's brought up in
Yeah, prior
cross,
to my role as
because it's not just
Detective Lieutenant,
it's not just a universal bite at the apple.
Special Investigations.
Right, you can
I was
only
also,
Ask questions about the things
Detective
they brought
Lieutenant in
up,
charge
so
of our
it was
auto
outside
theft unit,
scope,
our friend of the Port Division,
which is nice.
Our Arson Division.
I'd like to direct your attention to November.
Prosecutor was all
30th,
surprised
2020.
Pikachu face when the judge was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to allow your question." She's like, "Okay, well, I guess I got nothing
Were you notified
else."
of an active shooter situation at Oxford High School that afternoon?
Yes.
Can you tell us, please, where you were when you were made aware of it?
I was actually at the prosecutor's office at the time. I was made aware discussing another matter. The prosecutor and her chief assistant came in and advised me that there had been a shooting at the Oxford High School.
So what did you do with that? What did you do next?
For context, about, I don't know,
Is it 40,000 income after what YouTube takes? Yes.
false alarm, if you will, at
Yeah,
another
that's to
school.
me.
So initially, that was immediately what I went to. So this is probably another false alarm. But I picked up my phone and I made a phone call. I've thought about it a million times. I have no idea who I called, but I do remember the response was, "This is a real thing. This is real."
Obviously, because obviously, if I never saw it, I didn't make it. Now, did I?
Obviously, ran downstairs or took the elevator downstairs, ran to my vehicle, and immediately proceeded to the Oxford High School with my lights and sirens activated.
Do you recall the approximate time you would have arrived at Oxford High School?
I think around 1:20 in the afternoon, approximately.
Okay. Tell us what you saw as you arrived on scene.
There was the largest emergency first response that I've ever seen in my career. And second place is really close. When I got there, there were students were being evacuated, and more and more officers were rushing in. EMS was on scene. I vaguely recall our helicopter flying above. It was just something I'd only seen on TV before. Nothing I've ever experienced.
So at that point in time when you arrived, was the scene still active?
It was, yes.
I'm showing you what's been admitted as people 9. Is that screen in front of you working?
Yes, sir.
So this is a map of the Oxford High School?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as you pull up on scene, you made those observations. Tell us where you went next.
Just understand there's a lot of the day that I don't recall
Let me check on my food, see how it's coming
very
along.
well. So I don't remember where
Be right back.
but I do remember going through the front office entrance area. It would be C office 200. That door right there. Yeah.
This door right
Yeah. I do remember going through there. It was being held open by officers. And that's where I met then Lieutenant Todd Hill,
Looking
who
pretty
was
good.
the
It says
incident
6 minutes
commander.
left on the timer.
Okay, what's the incident commander?
So,
And then I will put
Lieutenant
it
Hill
on
had assumed
boil
incident
for a couple
command
minutes
because, as you
to
can imagine, I
get the
explained
color
to you,
out.
There was so much disorganization in the early.
Anyone
we
have any
had
thoughts about
no
how long I
idea
should
what
leave the
we were
broiler on?
Responding to.
I was thinking like 2 minutes.
My police radio was blowing up with calls of, we think there's an additional shooter here. We think someone's fleeing from the scene here. I mean, it was chaos.
Maybe 3.
So Lieutenant Hill assumed that role and started organizing resources for the sweeps of the school, for any secondary explosive devices or any additional shooters, to identify victims, things of that nature. So that was going on as I arrived.
Okay. So we've identified you as, you've identified yourself as the officer in charge of the investigation.
That's correct.
That's different than incident commander, though?
Yes, incident commander's role, especially in a case like this, because of the hundreds of emergency first responders that were flooding into the school. Lieutenant Hill, he's a captain now, so if I use him interchangeably, but Lieutenant Hill at the time handled the securing of the building, and evacuating wounded, injured, and because of my role in the Special Investigations Unit, the fact is that I was in charge of the Special Investigation Unit at the time, I assumed the role of the investigative lead, which is often referred to as the officer in charge.
Okay, if you could please give us a little bit of an idea of what an officer in charge typically does.
So, an officer in charge of an investigation typically, at its most basic, we investigate the scene, meaning we determine what property needs to be or what evidence needs to be collected, what witnesses need to be identified and spoken to, identifying potential victims, things of that nature. We also work with the prosecutor's office to determine charges, whatever charges, if any, that are going to come from the incident.
Now, would it be fair to say that in this particular case, there's a massive amount of information that was reviewed?
Yeah, so one of the more problematic things about this case is the amount of information that was coming in. You can imagine social media tips and emails and everything like that, 911 calls coming in. It was just, it was information overload, and all the best we could do was, just try to process things as they came.
Now, so it would be fair to say that you've reviewed the evidence in this case, at least in a supervisor.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm going to start off with your testimony where we left off the last few witnesses, and I'll go through the exhibits that have been admitted already. This is exhibit 361. So a little bit of background here, sir. Were you made aware that the defendant, James Crumbley, and his wife, Jennifer Crumbley's phones were seized the evening of November the 30th?
Yes, as part of the, if I can back
The
up just a
groceries
second,
didn't show
sure.
up. That's why we did cooking with
So
Kurt. It was
as
great.
OIC, there was a point in time where I advised, and it was just announced basically, that if you're an investigator, come see me, because I knew there were so many things jobs that needed to be done. So a handful of investigators were sent to different hospitals, area hospitals, whether we knew that there were victims there or not. We had some reason to believe that there were victims being shipped everywhere. Lieutenant Marsban was handling, once that the shooter was identified, handling the scene at the shooter's address. Special Agent Brandon had come up to assist me in identifying the murder weapon. So there was just, and I actually had a scribe next to me just jotting down as fast as she could when I would make an assignment, who was doing it and what the assignment was, because it was just still a ton of information.
So I think we'll back it up a little bit further.
Okay.
Now, you're aware of when James Crumbley was charged with involuntary manslaughter?
Yes.
Okay, when was that?
He was charged with involuntary manslaughter. I believe it was around noon on December 3rd.
Okay, so the shooting was Tuesday, November 30th, and there's Wednesday, December 1st, Thursday the 2nd, and Friday the 5th.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, tell us, sir, what happens when someone is charged with a felony in Michigan?
So when the prosecutor authorizes the charge, gives it to the officer in charge, I take it before a judge, and I swear to the facts of the case. It's called a swear to. And then the judge determines whether or not the information held within that complaint warrant is sufficient to support a charge.
Okay, is that
Yep.
public or is that
It's my
non-public?
beeps for my
That's
food.
all public.
Excuse me.
And did you do
I'll
that in
attend
this
to that real
particular?
fast.
I did.
Okay, you personally.
I did.
And was there also swear to of the defendant's son?
Yes,
Okay, that would have been Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021?
that is correct.
Okay, was that likewise public?
Yes, it was.
And when I say public, I mean open to the public.
There were, yes, open to the public and media present.
Was James Crumbley there for that, for his son's swear to?
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
Judge, the jury's going to get an instruction regarding 4.4. A lot of the evidence is regarding the timeline of when
It's
they were
time
from
for you and me,
November 30th to
baby.
December the 4th.
Rolling. Well, if James is found not guilty, will that help Jennifer's appeal? No,
Absolutely.
absolutely not.
Thank you, Judge.
Short of some sort of
Sir, Wednesday,
miracle, which I can't foresee, obviously,
December
because it would be a
1st.
miracle.
There was a swear to
But
the
no.
defendant's son?
That's correct.
Okay, and was James Crumbley there for that?
He was not in person, no.
And he was on Zoom?
He was on a Zoom.
Dollar
from his-
Generals
from
are
his previous
sad.
vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, John Oliver did a segment of them, and they're just
And
dirty,
we already heard from
unkempt
Dave Hendrick, who was
noisy
at the time sergeant in charge of the Oakland County
messes,
Sheriff's Office.
man. They're
Using
just
efforts.
there's just incredibly
Role
sad
of technical
places to go.
lieutenant,
I mean,
would that be
there's a lot of
supervising
other
to you
stores
ever
like Dollar
next to
Tree
him? Yes.
or
Okay. So,
Five
did you
Below, which
assign
aren't
him
so
with
sad,
his task
you
of
know? It's like,
locating
you go to Dollar
James and
General,
Jennifer
man.
Crumbley on Thursday, December the 2nd?
I did.
boxes
Okay, tell me about that.
everywhere.
So,
Things
as I
are
stated earlier,
unkempt. It's dirty.
the
It's not
officer
well
in charge
lit.
of Cases
Very, very sad place, man.
presents information basically to make it clear to
It's basically the same evidence that won't help her appeal. No,
In discussions with
no,
the
because
officer
the
in
jury is
charge
the finder of fact,
determines,
of course.
What if any
And
charges
if this
are going to
jury
come.
assesses the facts
The,
differently than
at
the other
time
jury,
shooter
then
was
they
charged,
can both be right.
Information.
Plus, we don't know necessarily what the defense case looks like at this point.
And there was discussions on.
We have only heard from the prosecution's case. We don't know if there are
December
differences in the
2nd
defense case,
about
but
the
even if they're
possibility
literally
of-
identical,
charging.
No,
the-
each jury is entitled to weigh the
shooters'
facts
parents
as
with
they
involved in it.
judge.
Okay, is that why you made that call?
That's how
to
it
Sergeant
goes.
Hendrick, or retired Sergeant Hendrick?
Yeah, what we knew at
How
the
many years she
time,
get?
the
She
only
hasn't been
thing that
sentenced
I
yet.
knew at the time, and again, there's a lot of irons in the fire. The only thing I knew at the time was they weren't at their residence. They weren't actively staying at their residence. So I thought it was important that we try to locate them.
Okay. So now going back to Exhibit 361 on the screen here, you had
Yeah, let me
mentioned
go
that
check on my
you had
Royal
assigned
and
Lieutenant Marsban with the search
process.
warrant of the defendant's home at 112 East in Oxford.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And so that occurred on Tuesday, November the 30th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you made aware that their phones were seized as part of that search?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about track phone or burner phone, how they're referred to interchangeably. Were you made aware, did you learn that the defendant and his wife purchased those phones?
I was. Yes.
And so what's in Exhibit 361?
So this is the receipt from the Walmart in Lapeer, Michigan, and for the purchase of the track phones.
Okay, so just for a timeline, this is at November 30th, 21 at 8:01 p.m.?
That's correct.
Okay. This is Exhibit 362. What are we looking at here?
This is a receipt for the Holiday Inn Express. So the shooting was on the 30th. They checked in on the 30th, and they departed on the next day.
Okay. And do you recall where this Holiday Inn Express was located?
Yes, that's the Holiday Express in Lapeer.
Now, they checked out on Wednesday, December the 1st. Did you learn where they stayed that evening?
I did.
Okay, this is Exhibit 365. What is this?
Yes, this is the receipt for the extended stay. Check-in date for in Auburn Hills. The check-in date is December 1st, and the checkout date was December 3rd.
So December 1st is the Wednesday, the 3rd is the Friday. Is this the location, we heard from retired Sergeant Hendrick about a vehicle being abandoned. Is this the location he's referring to?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to show you with minutes 366. What do we have here?
This is the vehicle we come to learn to be the defendant's vehicle.
You said they checked out on Friday, December the 3rd.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us
pretty
please the
good to me.
relative location from this particular hotel to the closest police department.
The Auburn Hills Police Department from that location is basically across the street. It's not far.
Now, regarding
We could stop covering the case until we get to the defense's case. We might do that.
Just so we're clear,
We might stop covering the case till we get to the defense's
it's your
case.
understanding that they were actually told that
Not a lot of people
First these
watching the
calls,
stream,
right?
That is
So-
correct. So
it might not be.
Detective
Might
Sergeant
not be
Ryan
worth
testified
covering.
earlier.
So
He had
I don't blame you
advised
guys.
them-
We've heard it before. So
or maybe it was Lieutenant Marsban. I can't recall, but said, "Hey, look, we're taking your phones. At this point, it's evidence, and which is common." And then
346
we
people is a
often
lot.
advise
Depends
that-
on your frame of reference,
so
I
we have a
suppose.
means of communication, because people
You know,
don't
it's not as
typically
many
have
as I'd
house
like.
phones anymore. We just automatically tell them usually to just pick up a couple of track
Plus,
phones.
revenue is not
okay. And were they
particularly
permitted to
great.
obtain
So
contact information
there
from
might be
their
other
phone
things that
before
would be
they
more
received?
beneficial
Yes, they
from a
were.
cost-benefit analysis.
Now, specifically on Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021, did you or members of your team uncover evidence that James and Jennifer Crumbley obtained cash through withdrawals?
That's correct.
Okay, this is Exhibit 367. What are we looking at here?
This is a withdrawal from Flagstar on December 2nd for the amount of $2,000.
Now, Mr. Rogowski, who testified about the burner phones, also mentioned replacement phones, so new phones with the old numbers ported to them. Did you learn when James and Jennifer Crumbley purchased those?
I did.
The joys of being a social media creator, where you have to try to chase,
What are we looking at here?
This
where you
is
have to,
a
at least to some
T-Mobile,
degree, try to
in
chase
Owasso,
clicks and
Michigan.
views and everything.
And this is the receipt.
It can be kind of annoying
December
on the
2nd
business end, to be
at
quite
11
honest.
a.m., 11:17 a.m. And this is where
But you
they
got to go where the eyeballs are, you
purchased
know.
new phones with their original phone numbers on them.
Okay, so this is Thursday, December 2nd. At this point, they were staying at that hotel in Auburn Hills. next to the police station, and this was purchased in Owasso, Michigan.
That is correct.
Do you know the relative distance between the two locations?
It's about an hour's drive per Google Maps.
My mouse
each
just
direction.
disappeared from my
Yes,
screen.
sorry.
So
Thank you
we
for coming
saw the
back,
record
Les.
that indicated they checked out of that Auburn Hills Hotel on Friday, December 3rd. Did you?
You didn't even find the channel because of case coverage. I was trolling
more
Ian and
cash
Rob so hard.
Yes,
I
I
had to
did.
find the channel.
This
That's
is
fine.
exhibit 367. What are we looking at here?
This is a withdrawal from Flagstar on December 3rd for the amount of $4,000.
Was evidence uncovered to suggest that they had transferred money from their son's account?
Yes.
This is exhibit 370. What is this?
This is a Flagstar withdrawal from a Simply Kids Savings. There's two withdrawals. There's 1129,
In the amount of what?
$292, and then there's a second withdrawal on the 30th the following day, $3,000.
Okay, what was the balance left in the Simply Kids savings account?
The remaining balance was 99 cents.
Okay, that was the day of the shooting, the 30th.
The 30th, yes, sir.
Do you know where the defendant and his wife went after they left the Auburn Hills Hotel?
Yes, once they left the Auburn Hills Hotel, they went to the address in Detroit.
Okay, that's been clear testimony from Mr. Kirtley and the Detroit police officers, 1111 Bellevue in Detroit.
1111 Bellevue.
Okay. I'm going to show you portions of surveillance video. We saw some of this earlier. This is different clips. This is exhibits 371 and 372. So 371 is first. And again, so we know the timestamp is actually 22 minutes off. I think we've already clarified that.
It's relevant as to evidence evincing flight,
10:58 a.m.
which could be
Is that
interpreted by
understandable,
the jury as evincing of guilt. It could be viewed as evidence of a guilty mind.
And just tell us, please, sir, when you see anybody you recognize.
The man walking with his phone, I believe, is the leasee of the suite or room or whatever that the Crumbleys were staying in.
That was Suite 130.
130. The vehicle coming in is the vehicle that we identified as Jennifer Crumbley's Kia.
And the Kia that was left at the Auburn Hills was identified as James Crumbley's Kia.
That's right.
Are my ads turned off? Yes, they are in fact turned off. When I remember to do them, they are in fact turned off. I have to go in and change the settings, so sometimes I forget. But
You recognize either
I did
individual
remember,
exiting
so yes.
from what was identified as Jennifer Crumbley's Kia?
I recognize both individuals,
Okay. Tell us who, please.
James Crumbley and Jennifer.
And where is the defendant, James Crumbley? Video.
He's walking up now.
Okay. Right here?
Correct.
Okay. Now, this is the location they were found at 1:30 a.m. the next day, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
1111 Bellevue. Okay.
Yep.
Now, that car was pulled in with the front facing forward, is that right?
That is right.
Okay, did you come to learn that the defendant moved that car subsequent to pulling up at 10:58 a.m.?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been admitted as 372. And this is just before 4 p.m. on December the 3rd.
That's correct.
according to your testimony, this would be about 4 hours after he was charged with 4 homicide offenses?
That's correct.
Aaron, I would object to that question. Mr. Keith indicated that James Crumbley was charged with homicide offenses.
This is a homicide.
I think we've been clear that this is an involuntary manslaughter case, Your Honor.
It's a homicide.
It goes by both things. It's, the title of the charge is homicide and involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
You're both right.
Involuntary manslaughter is a homicide.
Yeah, please.
So that was at 4:17. At 4 o'clock was the time that the judge had ordered the defendant and his wife to turn themselves in.
Okay, so when it became clear that they hadn't turned themselves in, was their license plate made public?
Yes, it was.
Was the license plate in the front or the back of the vehicle?
In Michigan, we only require the license plate on the rear of the vehicle. Work fugitive investigations. Oftentimes, fugitives will back into a spot to attempt to secure, hide their license plate, and also it's easier to get away if necessary.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there were no arrangements to have a surrender with this defendant or his wife. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So at the time this occurred, there was no plan with law enforcement to turn himself.
No, sir.
And in fact, someone with a valid felony arrest warrant, they don't get to choose when they get to turn themselves in.
Absolutely not.
Now, sir, I want to go back to November the 30th, 2021. In the afternoon, you had already assumed investigative command. Would that be right while you were on scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, if a person dies at the hands of another, it's necessarily a homicide, regardless of
And
whether
you
it's
said
criminal or
you
not.
met
Right?
with Special
There's a difference
Agent,
between homicide and
Brandon
murder.
Ball on scene at the high
For
school?
sure.
I did.
Okay, and what did you task him with?
I tasked him with tracing, well, frankly, he offered. He came to me and said, do you know who the registered owner of the gun was? And at the time, I did not. He testified earlier, and you heard that it was secured in a garbage can. One of our officers, upon the arrest of the shooter, pulled out the garbage bag portion of it and took just the plastic waste bin and put the gun to keep it all centrally located because searches were still going on and whatever. That officer turned it over to me. I took my post in the front office there. I sat it next to me. At some point during the day, Special Agent Brandon came to me and said, hey, have you identified the owner of this weapon yet? And I had not. So he's like, I'm the ATF. Sounded like a really good idea to have him track this down, and he got right on it.
Okay, and was that information relayed back to you fairly quickly?
It was.
And did you learn that that murder weapon was in fact purchased November the 26th, 2021?
Yes.
Now, you learned the identity of the shooter while you were still at high school, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier that you had tasked Lieutenant Marsban with securing the family home and securing a search warrant.
Yes.
Now, at that time, did you know if there were any other casualties outside of the school?
We did not. Like I said, I gotten some information from area hospitals that some wounded were coming in. So at that point, we're like, well, there's several hospitals in the general facility, so we had to assign officers out to different hospitals to make sure that we could locate and identify any potential victims.
Okay, so when you sent officers there, they didn't know what to expect.
No clue.
All right. Now, at some point, was there a concern about explosives in the school?
Yeah, so as I was stating earlier, I was getting sent and others were getting sent and observed Twitter, now X posts, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, and we had came across a YouTube video of the defendant's son making a secondary explosive device, potentially more commonly known as a Molotov cocktail, detonating it. We, at the time, and we'll talk, I guess, about the journal, we found some information in the journal that suggests that there may be secondary devices in place within the school that prolonged our my ability to go and investigate the scene of the crime because we had to continually sweep to make sure the area was completely safe.
Okay. In fact, did you have to call on a specialized unit to handle that?
We did, yes, Captain Hill, he activated the Michigan State bomb squad with their bomb dogs, and they came in with their robot.
Now, were you able to determine what area, what room or area of the school specifically the shooter left right before he began shooting?
Yes, it was the bathroom adjacent to room 258.
I'm going to show you what's been admitted to people 16. What are we looking at here?
This is the backpack and contents that the shooter was seen observed wearing walking into the bathroom prior to the shooting beginning.
Okay. Now, was this photograph taken after the location was made safe by the bomb squad?
That's correct.
Okay. And they didn't find any explosive devices?
They did not.
Okay. Now, what do you see in this picture? What was seized as evidence?
The most obvious thing is you see the book open, that is the shooter's journal.
Did you have the opportunity to review that journal?
I did. I have.
Were you able to identify it as being written by the shooter?
Yes, sir.
How were you able to make that identification?
There's, first of all, his name. That was the most glaring way to identify that it was his. His writing is unique and it matched some homework and other writings that we saw. There's references to several incidents that occurred in the school within the month of November, things of that nature.
Okay, so you, from the content of the journal itself, you're able to put a time frame on when the journal was likely written?
Yes, sir.
And tell me about that.
The first date written would have been November 9th. But it did reference incidents that happened before that,
Okay, in the month of November?
in the month of November.
As well as incidents that happened after that in the month of November?
Yes, sir.
How many pages of writing are contained in that journal?
22.
Okay, so is it filled with writing from front to back, or is it at different parts, or how is it?
No, it actually appears to be written from back to front, and it stops about a quarter way through.
Okay. Now, of the 22 pages, is there, I guess, a title page or something to signify the end of the journal, end of the writing?
There's, yes, I mean,
Okay.
to answer your question simply, yes.
So out of the pages with writing in that journal, how many contain reference to the school shooting?
All 22.
Now, for the record, I'm going to show you some of these slides, or some of these passages rather from the journal, and I'm going to refer to them by page number, and just so you're clear, sir, they're indicated page 1 from where the writing starts to page 22, which would be the back binding of that journal. Is that accurate?
Understood, yes.
Okay. Now, is the journal in written format or were drawings contained as well?
Both.
Were there any passages in this journal that you noted indicative of the shooter's request for mental help?
Yes.
People 359. Can you read what's written in this passage, please?
Yes. I have zero help, and help is bolded, for my mental problems, and it's causing me to shoot up the fucking school.
Page 5, for the record, that was page 6 on the journal. Same exhibit, page 5. Could you read that, please?
Yeah, it's hearsay. We're not sure how it's coming in.
But my parents don't listen to me. so
The
I
lawyer
can't
is
get any help.
confused.
Page 5. This is page
Making
19.
law simple is
What does it say?
confused. We don't
My parents
understand.
won't listen to me about help or therapy.
They did let the
Now,
moms
were there any
the journal in for the
entries
mom's
about the
trial.
shooter's desire to obtain a 9mm handgun?
Yes, sir.
Same exhibit, page 3.
And
Can you help me
again,
listen?
Again, like the defense doesn't renew the
shooter writes,
objection.
So
I
we
don't
should
know.
be bound to get my
Emily Baker's
SB
confused. Yeah, we got nothing.
9BE soon.
Okay.
None
Now,
of us
that's
understand
specific
this.
Term S&D 9BE. Did you see that anywhere else in this case?
Yes, I did.
Emily Baker's a
tables
former
85 and
prosecutor. So you
86.
think she'd understand it,
What do we
but
see here?
we're all
This
confused.
is a picture of a Smith & Wesson model number
'Cause it doesn't make any sense.
FD9EE that was for sale that was extracted from the defendant's phone.
Okay, and Mr. Rogowski testified this was from Monday, November the 8th, sent from the defendant's son to the defendant in a message that was deleted. Did you hear for that testimony?
Yes, I was.
Now back to the journal. This is page 22. Can you please read us what this says?
Yes. Shooter writes, I want to shoot up the fucking school so badly. Soon, I am going to buy a 9mm pistol.
Same exhibit, page 17. Go ahead.
All I need is my 9mm pistol, which I am currently begging my dad for.
And page 22.
I will have
Oh, this is the binding, right?
I will have to find where my dad hid my 9mm before I can shoot the school.
And page 15.
Unfortunately, my dad does not want me to get the 9mm gun, and we are having financial problems, RN, for right now. And I don't have a job, so now I'm pissed because I want to do the shooting with a 9mm pistol as they are effective for killing. But RN, right now, all I got is a puny 22 LR Caltech that I don't know where my dad hid it.
Okay, and we heard evidence in this case that James Crumbley obtained a 22 caliber Caltech pistol in June of 2021. Is that right?
That is right. Yep.
Were there journal entries regarding the shooter's plan?
Yes.
Here's page 3, same exhibit. Can you read this, please?
I'm about to shoot up the school and spend the rest of my life in prison.
Sir, did you find any journal entries regarding the shooter's access to the 9mm?
Yes, I did.
Same exhibit. This is also page 3. Go ahead.
Excuse me. First off, I got my gun. It's a SP 2022 6-hour 9mm. Second, the shooting is tomorrow. I have access to the gun and the ammo. I am fully committed to now. So yeah, I'm going to prison for life, and many people have about 1 day left to live.
Now, sir, we saw one of the journal entries that had the word help all bold that was across a couple of lines. Were there any other writings or passages in that bolded format?
Yes, there were.
Were there pictures in the journal as well?
Yes, there were.
Okay, like what?
There's a picture of what appears to be an arm fully extended out with a gun pointed to the back of what appears to be a female's head.
And was that a little picture or a large picture?
It took up about that much of the page.
Okay, so the reference.
Oh, I'm sorry, about 3-4 inches of the page.
Now, is this journal a full-size book like this little notepad, or is it small?
It was small.
I'm just going to mark this for demonstrative exhibit. Page 381, this is a demonstrative exhibit. Papers with it.
Objections and
No, Your Honor, just for positive purposes.
Just take that.
Note to self, do not try to print 161 pages at the same time.
You just hold it up for the jury so they can see, please. And
A little baby printer wasn't meant for that.
Thank you, sir. And that's what's depicted here in Table 16 that we're referring to?
That's correct. If this was laid open.
Yeah, first one.
Sure.
Would you mind putting it back in?
So I'll have to go back and see which pages I missed so I can reprint them.
Sir, we've heard evidence, and we've heard the 911 call that James Crumbley made on Tuesday, November 30th at 1:34 p.m. You're aware of that call?
Yes, sir.
And you were in court when it was played?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, we've also heard testimony that the Meyer and Ray Road next to the high school was the emergency location for Oxford High School parents in case of emergency at the high school.
The reallocation point, yes.
And did the police likewise notify the community of that as well?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Do you recall when that occurred?
I believe the first 911 call that the sheriff's office dispatch advised that the Meyer will be the relocation point was at approximately 1 o'clock. Well, 1 o'clock in that day. Just 10 minutes or so after the shooting.
Okay, so the shooting began at 12:51 p.m. and 1 p.m. the same day?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware how many 911 calls were placed to dispatch in that time period?
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
How is it relevant?
He's going to testify as to who identified their son as the shooter, Judge.
Okay, but that's not relevant to how many, I don't know, existing.
That's a list job.
How many people identified their son as the shooter?
Just
Use the
one.
same paper. Judge.
Nobody else?
Nobody else.
Was there more than one 911 call?
There was.
Oh, I'm sorry, that maybe that is relevant. How many 911 calls is relevant? But I guess out of those, how
It
many?
gives the answer context, Judge.
Okay.
How many 911 calls were placed that day?
112 were able to be answered within the immediacy of the shooting.
Okay, and out of those 112, how many identified their son as the suspect?
Just one, the defendant.
Okay, sir, the officer in charge, you've reviewed the surveillance video of Oxford High School.
Yes, I have.
Okay. We're going to play that now. Judge, could you please instruct the media not to film?
Can you remind me how long it is? I just want to decide whether.
It's just a few minutes, Judge.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
It might be a good idea to think right after.
Can you not videotape the video that we're about to play? And I also want to alert any victims or victims' family that we're about to play the video.
All
Your Honor,
right.
I'm objecting for the reasons previously stated.
I understand.
May I proceed, Judge?
Sure.
Just so we understand the date and time. We have a timestamp and date stamp at the bottom here. November 30th, 2021. This is at 12:46 p.m. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to
And the prosecutor, it's correct, there's no audio.
correct it in audio. Let me know, please, when you recognize the shooter in this frame.
He just walked out and made a laugh. You'll be able to see him more clearly momentarily. He's about to enter right now.
Okay. The individual turning into the bathroom there is the defendant's son.
That is the defendant's son, yes.
For the record, this is 12:46 p.m.
Correct.
And this video it skips with time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You think the cops forged the journal?
Okay, this is 12:51 p.m.
That's a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
wow. Okay. That's a lot, man. Seems suspiciously written. Well, it was written by a person who was mentally troubled, so it might seem a little off. Just a thought. Yeah, the authenticity of the journal is not my problem. Of the many problems of getting this journal in, authenticity is not the issue. At least to me. It can be authenticated other ways, but authenticity is not the problem. It's like you don't need to leap to incredible theories to challenge its admissibility when you've got perfectly serviceable theories already, man. Like, why are you dreaming up these insane scenarios when you already got at least 4 completely workable reasons to exclude it? Some lawyers are more touchy than others, guys. Just because a lawyer is a little bit more touchy and trying to comfort their client doesn't mean they're sleeping together. This is shades of Johnny Depp all over again, where people were saying that Vasquez was sleeping with Johnny Depp because she was a little touchy at times. Like, give me a break, man. I mean, are you that desperate to start shipping people? All right, so that's my light reading for after stream for my client. Very exciting. I wanted to read it in paper because I thought it would be a little bit more effective, so printed it out. One of like 6 documents too. So I gotta print out like 1,000 pages, but we'll start with that. Glad I bought printed paper. Yeah, on paper, I'm breaded, yeah. Yeah. I'm glad I bought 2 reams of paper when I ordered groceries, man. I'm gonna need them. Here's a good one. Shannon was pregnant by James, so Jennifer convicted her to get her out. Wow, that's intense. You know, speaking of shipping people, I made the mistake of watching someone do a playthrough of Doki Doki Literature Club. It was the first time I've ever seen anyone play Doki Doki Literature Club. It was a thing. I don't know how to feel. Yeah, it's a thing. You never heard of it? Yeah, you should play it. It's a perfectly innocent dating simulator game. You should totally play it. Perfectly, totally innocent, just dating simulator. Yeah. Dating simulator? You've never played those games where like it's usually Japanese, where there's like the scenario is like you're a guy or you're a girl, as the case may be, and you meet a bunch of potential people at your school / whatever, and you have to choose which of them to date and whatever, and relationships and stuff. You've never played a game like that before or seen a game like that before? It's a whole genre.
Even then, please remain seated while the defendant is moving.
So in this one, you play a high school student going to school at a new school or something. It's not 100% clear, but you go to school and one of your friends comes up to you before you go to school and be like, hey, do you want to join any clubs? You said you would join a club. Will you come to our club? And so basically you get suckered into the literature club. And then there are 4 girls and you have to, you know, court them and date them and write poetry and stuff to choose which one to date and pursue. And then it gets interesting. We should play it on stream. I'll do it. I'll play it on stream. It'll be fun. I'm not sure when we'll do this, but we'll do it. It'll be a thing. What's up with Chains? He's on remand, so it's just standard procedure for someone on remand with these level of charges. All right, yeah, that's fine. You never heard of it? Oof. It's a thing, man. It's a thing. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. We'll play it, and when we play it, we'll play it like completely innocent, and we'll see what people say. Why they remove them on the breaks? That's up to the court. Apparently, the sheriff's office or whoever it is doing this doesn't feel comfortable leaving him in the courtroom. So that's whatever they've decided on. The judge is like, okay. So I don't know. That's just what they do. Breaks are good, man. Breaks are good to help everyone get a mental break and all kinds of things. So, yeah. So yeah, I have to print off a whole bunch of documents to review for my new client's potential cert petition. And we'll see. This is going to take some time to get through. I think my husband would ask for couples therapy if he walked on me watching you play a Japanese dating simulator. I know how those games end. You don't know how this game ends. I assure you. You don't know how this game ends. No. You definitely want to tune in for that one. You're definitely going to want to tune in for that one. What's my favorite anime? Well, the only anime I really watched are Dragon Ball and Cowboy Bebop. And Cowboy Bebop is pretty badass. So, I guess Cowboy Bebop. My ringtone for my phone is Tank. So, works. My husband likes dating anime. He'll like this game. Yeah, he'll like it. Maybe we should play it tomorrow instead of doing the trial, because we've seen the trial before. Maybe we'll play it tomorrow on stream, and we'll do it together. What do you guys think? You guys want to? What you guys want to do? Because you've heard all the testimony before. You guys want to skip the trial and do a playthrough together? No thanks. You're missing out, man. Do not skip the trial. All right. Well, there's some people out there who don't want to do that. They want to take a day off. I respect that. A poll? A poll is a good idea. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. Yeah, if I understand what it wants to skip through the trial. I mean, in the prosecution's case, it's the same case we've already heard. So there's not much new here, right? So taking a day off until we get to like the defense's case, we're not going to miss much because we've seen it before. Nothing is going to happen that's going to be like massively surprising. What am I trying to do right now? Oh yeah, I'm trying to create a poll. Maybe on Thunderdome? No, it's too long for Thunderdome. It's a multi-hour journey. It's going to take like 5 hours at least to do it. It's way too long for Thunderdome. Okay. So let's do a poll. And a poll is, should we skip trial tomorrow to play Doki Doki Literature Club? And an anime dating simulator game. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. It'll be, yeah. You can vote on that now. Doki Doki Literature Club is goated. It's something. It's something. You can hear Kurt start to question his life choices by typing it out? A little bit, yes. It's definitely a standout game in its genre. I mean, that cannot be denied. Yeah. No, I already know. I already know. The chat doesn't know though. But because I watched someone else play it, so yeah. So I know. But we can pretend like I don't know. Ace Attorney drives me insane. We've tried playing Ace Attorney a couple times on stream, and it nearly drove me nuts. It does not end in hentai. That much we can assure you. Yeah. How the meal come out? I don't know. It looks okay on my oven, but we haven't eaten it yet. Should we try a bite and see how it turned out? We could try a bite and see how it turned out. Yes. All right. While we're waiting, all right. Let's take a break and see how the food turned out. I'll bring it over here and we can sample it together. Let's see what we got. Onion there on the top. Not as pretty as it could have been. I'd remember to put the onion before, so a little pretty as it could have been. Let's give it a chance. Hmm. Needs more salt and pepper. As much pepper as I put in that thing, you think there'd be plenty, but not enough. Better. I am a Clemson alumni. Go Tigers. Yeah. It's better with more garlic, that's for sure. like a little sour. Maybe I put too much balsamic vinegar in it. And a little sour. Maybe I should have waited to put that on the top instead of putting it in the mix. Serviceable. Serviceable. I could definitely use more cheese, though. There's not enough cheese. There's not enough cheese. But it's fine. It's healthy. I will definitely eat it. It needs more pepper. Some hot sauce wouldn't go unappreciated either. But it turned out okay. Clemson is just undergrad. Clemson does not have a law school. I went to University of Akron for law school. Please don't chew into the mic. Sorry. My bad. Can I have both the court and the game up on stream at the same time? I'm not sure that would really work as a practical matter. What did I study in undergrad? Computer science. What hot sauce do I use? Typically Frank's Red Hot. I like Frank's. I graduated May of 2004 with a computer science degree. And then I graduated August of 2004 with a political science degree. So nice, I graduated twice. Not a double major, but a double baccalaureate. Ooh. Ah. Honey? Honey's not a bad call. And I do have some hot honey, which would help with the spiciness. I got some Mike's hot honey, so that would work. That's a good call. That way I kind of get a twofer on that one. Have I been to Clemson recently? Yes. It was very weird recently being at Clemson. I went the last time I was visiting my parents, which was, 2 months ago or something like that? And my father and I went down to Clemson. And there were a couple, notable changes. First of all, it was interesting because you can't drive through the interior of the corridor anymore. You used to be able to turn at Bowman and go past the administrative building and towards Tillman. You used to be able to turn left there and go towards Brackett, but they've put barriers up so you can no longer go through the interior of campus in your car unless you're special. So that was interesting. And also across from Bowman, there used to be Clemson House, which I stayed at during my 5th year in school because I got 2 degrees. It took 5 years. There used to be Clemson House, which was a very cool place. It kind of looked like a hotel, and it was kind of cool. And they demolished it, which made me a little bit sad. But now they've got the College of Businesses up there, and they've got all these dorms up there, and they've got parking up there, and it's completely different up there. I mean, there's a lot more there than used to be. And it was interesting because I was watching, the students walk around. And I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I project myself into a time period, I have trouble remembering how I looked physically. So I have trouble remembering when I project myself into the past. I just sort of imagine myself as I am now in the past. And so I was watching all these students walk by, and I'm like, damn, everyone is so young. And it's was I this young? I mean, I must have been, right? And it's and it was very, it was kind of depressing, to be honest, because it was one of those you can't go home again moments. And it was depressing because it's like, this is no longer my school. This is no longer my campus. I'm not sure when that stopped exactly, but I go back and so much has changed relative to when I was there. I don't feel like it's my home anymore, and it made me sad. So yeah, that was my experience. Yeah, there's a German word for that. I bet there is. There's a German word for everything. I was watching all these girls walk around, like these, I presume, 18 to 22-year-old girls. And I'm like, damn, 18 to 22-year-old girls are really, really young. It's like, damn, they're so young. Which made me feel old as shit. It made me almost feel like lecherous for finding them attractive. Because I'm like, I'm 42. And they're 20, right? So I'm like, I'm double their age. It made me feel like lecherous. It's like, it's a very weird sensation. I don't know how to feel about any of this. And now they're going to tear down, finally, they say they're going to tear down the campus union and Johnstone, which, by the way, they've been saying since I was in college. All right. That's how long they've been saying that they're going to tear down Johnstone. But they promised this time. They really, really promise. And the fact they tore down Clemson House before Johnstone, Johnstone is just a really old dorm, and it's very like, its heyday is long gone, right? It is well past its service by date, but somehow yet it survives. And so now they're talking about finally tearing down Johnstone, finally, and apparently replacing it with grass, which seems like an odd choice because it's right in the interior of campus, but okay. Do I have any pics of me in college? I do somewhere. Hold on. Let me see what I can do. Um, Let me see if I can find any pictures of myself from the past. Oh God, when was this photo taken? Oh, holy shit. Holy shit, when was this photo taken? (2009) All right, so this would have been me in law. So I graduated law school in 2007. So this would have been 2 years after I graduated law school. Oh, holy shit! There's no way this is not going. This is not a good idea. We should absolutely. Oh, no, wait. I think I have an older one. Oh, hold on. I think I've got an older one. No, we don't care about court. We're too busy doing this right now. Hold on while I scrounge around, see if I can find an older photograph of myself. Hold on. I saw you. Where are you hiding from me? Oh my God. Oh, dude. 2002? Yeah. So this would have been. This would. Oh, shit. I shouldn't do this. This would have been when I was a sophomore in college. I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Oh, dude. Are we sure we want to do this? Really? Dude, do we really want to do this? Oh, no. Oh, dude, there's no way this ends well. All right, fine. Fine. Let's see what else I got in the queue. Kurt was adorable back then. Kurt would like to think he's adorable now, not for nothing, but, you know. If you don't mind, thank you very much. (2014) Let's see. 2014? No, that's way too late. Do I have anything older? 2008. So this would have been a year after I graduated. This would have been a year after I graduated law school. That's 2008. That's a year after I graduated law school. How are we feeling about that one? Are we feeling good about that? Is that working for people? All right. Here is, let's see what else I can do. Now I feel old as shit, dude. I hate you all. Oh, here's a professional headshot. This is from 7 years after I graduated high school. So this is, this would be a 10-year-old photo now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Kurt Mueller, attorney at law. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, there you go. That's 10 years ago. All right, what else we got in the list? All right, here's a fun one. This is grainy. This is grainy, but this is a fun photograph. Here is a photograph. All right, hold on. Come on. Here is a photograph of me wearing a suit while also wearing a hamburger hat. Okay. There you go. That's a picture of me in a suit wearing a hamburger hat. Great. Moving on. There's one other photo I was trying to see if I could find. Oh, okay. Yeah, these ones are okay. So these ones are hard to see, but they're headshots at least. So hold on, let me redact something. Well, it doesn't matter. You guys already know. So it doesn't matter. So Clemson University, like many universities, issues a student ID card, and at one point they changed it because they used to put your social security number on your ID as your ID number, right? So this seems stupid, right? Your student ID number used to be the exact same thing as your social security number. And I point out to them that this was a really, really stupid idea. And when I was in student government, I actually got them to change it. And so they had to reissue all the student ID numbers, because they had to reissue cards for everybody, because I'm like, this is an incredibly dumb idea. So here are my student ID cards. So that is a picture of me essentially as a that is a picture of me, hold on. That is a picture of me essentially as a high schooler. That's me, that's my freshman headshot, right? That is me, you know, as I'm coming in for orientation, you know, headshot. So that's essentially me as a freshman. And you can see like where the student ID number is. You see how it says all zeros? I got them to change it to all zeros, so it didn't show my number, it didn't show my social on the surface of my card. Because I'm like, this is a really, really dumb idea. You shouldn't be putting people's socials on the card. So the reason it says all zeros is because I'm like, I don't want my ID number on my card because it's my goddamn social. So I had a special one printed that said all zeros. And then I got them to change their policy, and there is a picture of me. I don't know what year that would be. Presumably that is something like my junior year. Woof. So we have a picture of me as a freshman, essentially, or a senior in high school. What I looked like when I graduated high school, essentially. There was one other photo I was looking to see if I could find it. No, I don't think so. I was looking for a picture of me when I was in law school, because I was arguing a moot case at the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, and there's a picture of me at the lectern. And I was like trying to find that, because it's like this is what a lawyer looks like, apparently. And I can't find it right now. We'll have to press back to the case. Sorry. That's enough of nostalgia with Kurt.
All that.
You know that at some point on December 1st, James and Jennifer left. Oh, and before I go past that,
The picture in the frame is also of me in college. That's true. The picture in the frame is of me doing government, so that would be a picture of me like as a
And you
sophomore or something like
testified
that.
You learned during your investigation that there was a conversation either with Detective Sergeant Brian or Lieutenant Marsden about James and Jennifer obtaining those phones.
Yes.
And the purpose was because they had given their phones to law enforcement and they didn't have any way to communicate with people, if you recall the information you were given.
They were taken in a search warrant. Whether they gave them to, I guess, is subjective. But yeah, we obtained them, and it's my understanding the advice given to them, which again isn't uncommon, is that purchase some track phones so you could maintain communications.
Exhibit 365, you know that on December 1st of 2021 that James and Jennifer left that Holiday Inn in Lapeer and checked into an extended stay in Auburn Hills.
What day did you say?
December 1st of 2021.
Yes.
Now Lapeer, for those who aren't familiar, is north of Oxford.
It is.
It's north of Auburn Hills.
It is.
So they left the Lapeer area and came down.
I also have
to
my
Auburn
college
Hills, which
yearbooks,
is
so I could get my
15
yearbook
minutes
photo
south of Oxford.
from when I graduated.
I could be wrong about the time.
But you referenced Lapeer essentially borders Oxford,
Okay.
and
On the north.
on the north side, and then
Should we look through the yearbook for photographs of me?
Okay.
Let's look through let's look through the yearbook for
Came
photographs.
slightly south of,
Hold
still
on.
in Oakland County.
Let me get my
correct?
yearbooks.
You noted specifically that there was an Auburn Hills Police Department across the street from the extended stay.
yes,
Now, you know that Jennifer and James Crumbley checked out of the extended stay on December 3rd of 2021, which
yes,
was that Friday.
yes.
You don't know what time they left the hotel, correct?
If the checkout's on the, but do I know? No.
You know what time checkout is,
Yes.
based on the receipt and the documents, correct?
Yes.
Let's see. Let's
But you
start
don't know
with
what time they
2003.
left.
This is my
Whether it
first
was at
senior
checkout
year.
or before, you have no idea.
That's right.
At some point on Exhibit 368 is the T-Mobile receipts from the T-Mobile in Owasso.
Okay.
Those are dated December 2nd of 2021.
Okay.
Do you recall?
Let's see what we got.
And there was some conversation about the distance that Owasso is from Auburn Hills, because on December 2nd of 2021, James and Jennifer Crumbley had been staying at the extended stay in Auburn Hills.
Yes, and I believe they went to Owasso to get their phones.
Right. They drove to Owasso to get their phones and then went back to the extended stay, from what you understand.
Yes.
So they didn't stay in Owasso, correct? Overnight, to your knowledge.
No.
Now, you are aware that after the Oxford High School shooting, there were a variety of reactions and emotions to what occurred at Oxford High School.
Yes.
There was
Brittany Wright,
terror.
From
Miss Clemson,
Anyone at the
who
school.
was student body vice president.
more than likely.
There was anger.
Are you
I'm
just
speaking
talking
in general. In general.
I would guess after an incident like that, every emotion imaginable could be
Right.
put out there.
You're aware that once the identity of the shooter at Oxford High School was made public, you were also made aware during your investigation that a lot of that anger,
I think this
some of
might
that
actually
anger
be
was
me.
directed toward the parents of the shooter, James and Jennifer Crumbley.
I think this is actually a photo of me. It's not labeled, but I think it's a photograph of me.
I can't say specifically, no.
Exhibits
Oh,
371
yeah.
and 372 were the
Look at those
video
glasses,
from
baby.
1111 Bellevue
Oh yeah.
in Detroit. You noted that there was a difference of 22 minutes on the timestamp on the video from the actual time.
Yeah. Yes.
So the video was 22 minutes ahead of what the actual clock time was, if you recall.
I think that's right.
Okay. The video, I believe it's 371, shows that James and Jennifer arrived at approximately 10:59 a.m. at 1111 Bellevue.
Okay.
And that was prior to the swear-to that you testified was conducted at noon.
That I believe it was around noon, correct?
See if there's like an
And
index
again,
or something.
I'm not asking you to lock in on the exact time, if it was 12:01 or 12:02 or whatever the time may be, but 10:59 is obviously before around noon.
It is.
And the two videos that you were shown, the exhibit 372 is after 4 p.m., where it shows that James Crumbley walked out of the building and turned the car around and then went back to the building.
Yes. Was it 417 or something like that?
Correct. So the two clips that you saw, there were actually many, many clips from throughout that day, if you recall, that you reviewed as part of your investigation.
Yes.
Am I not in this?
In fact, as part of your investigation, you reviewed those clips and know that one or both of James and or Jennifer Crumbley were in and out of that building on more than one occasion on December 3rd of 2021.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Do you recall that there was video of
Anyways, that's
James
enough of a-
specifically
that's
being in
enough
the
of a
building
walk
and
through
smoking,
memory
going
lane
back
for now.
in on more than one time?
I can't say. I don't know.
And we heard you were in here when Investigator Creer testified,
Yes.
and he talked about finding, I believe he said 14 cigarette butts next to the Kia.
The poll
Yes.
was
In the
71% no, with
Yes.
210 voting. So you
So-
guys are against the idea.
You don't specifically recall whether or not James and Jennifer did leave the building. You don't recall whether they didn't. It's fair to say you just don't recall.
That's right.
Now I feel really, really old.
You
I
testified
don't like.
at 4
I don't like
o'clock,
this. Looking at past
a
photographs,
judge ordered.
I had a
James and
nice
his wife to turn
delusion in
himself.
my mind that I
Yes.
appear the exact same
You
now as I
don't
did when I
know
was 18.
whether James had
And you guys have now
knowledge
tried to
of that
shatter
work.
that illusion, and I'm not really a happy camper.
I mean,
Jerks.
it's safe. I mean, there's some evidence in my mind that points to that.
You did not see anything in your review of the case and of the evidence that you've obtained in this case to suggest that James was not going to turn himself. And I'm not asking about anything that you've seen that you may or may not be able to talk about, but I'm asking specifically, you haven't seen anything to suggest that they weren't going to turn themselves
That's an objective form of the question. You can't try to pigeonhole a witness if he had more information and then limit the answer.
I may
to
have
things
started
about-
this trip down memory lane, but you guys prodded it on.
You're specifically.
I am taking no responsibility for this. Typically, I'm all about self-reflection and accountability. But on this
You
one, I
asked-
choose
and we
to
heard the
take the
testimony,
typical
you
path.
asked
I accept no
retired
responsibility for
Sergeant
any of this.
to
Everyone else is
locate
responsible.
James and
I'm a
Jennifer Crumbley on
victim.
December
I hate
2nd
you
of
all.
2021.
That's correct.
That was on the date that there were discussions about potentially charging James and Jennifer Crumbley.
That's correct.
On December 3rd of 2021, they had not been located at that time, earlier in the day,
What time?
before dark.
No, they weren't located.
They were
To my
located,
knowledge, they weren't located.
right. To your knowledge, they were located later in the day, and we heard the testimony about that information, correct?
Yes.
You testified about a video, I believe you said it was posted on Twitter. Of
Thank
the
you,
shooter
Paralegal Liz, for being a member
of
for
Molotov
1 year.
cocktail or something?
Awesome.
It was. I believe it was a
It's our
YouTube
paper
video.
anniversary, Liz.
You have no information that James was aware of that video.
No.
Now, Exhibit 16 is a photograph of the backpack and contents in the bathroom that we looked at.
Okay.
I have too many photos of my ex in here. I don't know if I should delete them or
The photo shows
not.
that the journal that was in the
They always
backpack
make me
was
sad.
open, and I believe you testified that that was opened by law enforcement.
To be honest, I'm not. So if I can recap that, the Michigan State Police bomb squad went in there. They arranged the items to my understanding, and that's how the first time I saw that that's how it was.
Okay. So you don't have any specific knowledge about how that was opened or who opened it. You just know that when you saw the contents, that's how they were as they were in the photograph.
Right.
You identified the journal as that of the shooter
Wow.
because his name was in it.
Yes. Among other things.
Right. You said also the writing match homework that you saw and things.
All
like
right,
that.
here's one for you. Here's one for you. You guys, this will help with my Second Amendment cred. This will help with my Second Amendment cred.
You
All right, give me a
indicated
second.
that there were
So in one of my jobs, as it were, I was a legal advisor and regional director, and at one point director of public relations for Students for Concealed Carry. So here is a picture of me back when NRA had its own news program, NRA News. This is me getting interviewed on Cam and Company, and getting interviewed as the legal advisor / director of public relations for Students for Concealed Carry. So there you go, man. There's some Second Amendment bona fides for you. Wow, good times.
So opening the front cover, there would be no writing, but if you flip to the back, then it's the 22 pages from the back forward that have writing on them.
It seems that way, yes.
And again, I think this is an obvious question, but I'm going to ask you. You have no indication that James Crumbley was aware that that journal existed, correct?
No, I think I know he knew it existed.
That journal existed.
Yeah, he mentioned it in his counseling session that why didn't you write, you can write in your journal.
Right. And we heard from the counselor and we heard from the dean of students, who both
so
testified
that's
that
how
there
they're
was a
getting it
mention
in.
of a journal, but that there were no specifics given. It doesn't say the journal in your
That's
backpack,
how they're getting
the one
it
you
in.
always keep with you.
He
didn't
said you
provide
can write
colors,
in
he
your
didn't provide
journal.
Any descriptive detail.
So that's how they're
We
getting
saw
it in,
the
that
search
he had
warrant
awareness of the
photos
journal.
that were taken, that there were additional notebooks,
Wow.
and I mean, could be
I don't know,
journals
man.
in
I don't know,
the
man. But that's how they're
shooter's
trying to make
bedroom.
this work.
He references
Apparently,
the journal.
I think this is oral comment too. He said during his time when he was talking to the school,
the dean of students
he said-
mentioned a journal, testified about a journal.
he said you can go write in your journal.
You have a journal, but there's no specifics given about what that journal is. Is that fair?
That was a long question.
It was a very long question. Yes, there were no specifics given during that meeting at the school about whether James had any knowledge of what the journal looked like, if he knew what was in it, or anything like that.
No.
So because he said, I want to get this right. So let me go back just a little bit because hold on.
Written in the journal was November 16 is a photograph of the backpack and contents in the bathroom that we looked at.
Okay.
The photo shows that the journal that was in the backpack was open, and I believe you testified that that was opened by law enforcement.
To be honest, I'm not. So if I can recap that, the Michigan State Police bomb squad went in there. They arranged the items to my understanding, and that's how the first time I saw that that's how it was.
Okay, so you don't have any specific knowledge about how that was opened or who opened it. You just know that when you saw the contents, that's how they were as they were in the photograph.
Right.
You identified the journal as that of the shooter because his name was in it.
Yes. Among other things.
Right. You said also the writing match homework that you saw and things of that nature. The first date that you have written in the journal you testified was November 9th of 2021.
I believe that's right.
Okay. You indicated that there were references to incidents prior to November 9th of 2021, but you don't specifically know what the dates were that those incidents were written about. Is that fair?
I think I might,
Based on reading the journal.
based on everything I've read.
Okay. So based on everything you have about all the knowledge you have about the case that you learned after November 30th of 2021, you may have additional information.
Yes.
But looking at the journal, you can't tell from the dates. There aren't dates other than November 9th of 2021, and I think there might be a couple other ones referencing the shooting.
You're correct.
Okay. You testified that the journal appears to be written from back to front. So opening the front cover, there would be no writing, but if you flip to the back, then it's the 22 pages from the back forward that have writing on them.
It seems that way, yes.
And again, I think this is an obvious question, but I'm going to ask you. You have no indication that James Crumbley was aware that that journal existed, correct?
No, I think I know he knew it existed.
That that journal existed.
Yeah, he mentioned it in his counseling session that why didn't you write, you can write in your journal.
Right, and we heard from the counselor and we heard from the dean of students, who both testified that there was a mention of a journal, but that there were no specifics given.
That's how they're getting
the
it
journal
in
your backpack, the one you always keep with you. He didn't provide colors. He didn't provide any descriptive detail. We saw in the search warrant photos that were taken that there were additional notebooks and could be journals in the
I
shooter's
still don't
bedroom.
think I still don't think it gets you all the way
He
home.
references a journal,
But it's something.
The school counselor and the dean of students mentioned a journal, testified about a journal. They indicated that James Crumbley said, you have a journal. But there's no specifics given about what that journal is. Is that fair?
That was a long question.
It was a very long question.
All right. I partly figured
Yes.
it out.
There were no specifics given during that meeting at the school about whether James had any knowledge of what the journal looked like, if he knew what was in it, or anything like that. November
All right, we
27th
can
of
skip to live.
2021, and the shooting occurred on November 30th of 2021.
Yes.
So we know, and this page was page 22, which would have been the back cover of the journal. Is that fair? If you recall?
Yeah, she was there too. Jennifer was there
It's
too.
okay. But we can read this and know that it would have been written after definitely November 26th of 2021.
I need to discuss this with
Yes.
with MLS.
On page 3 of the journal, Mr. Cusick, page 3, thank you. Yeah. If you look at the third line of this entry, it says, I have access to the gun and the ammo. Do you see that?
I do see it.
Now, you don't recall seeing anything in the journal, in this journal, or even around this entry that says, my dad told me where the gun and ammo are. Correct?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. You don't recall reading anything in the journal that says, my dad told me where the gun and ammo are. You don't remember reading anything in the journal. You didn't see anything in the journal that says, my dad showed me where the gun and ammo are.
No, I didn't read that.
So when it says I have access, you don't know how he obtained access. Is that fair? It just says I have access. Exactly what the words are.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yes. Reading this journal entry and the information that you have that you've read in the journal, this doesn't say how Mr. Crumbley's son had access to the firearm. Is that fair?
That's right. Just simply that he had access.
Simply that he had access.
Understood.
Thank you. I have no further questions here.
Briefly, thank you, Judge. Starting off with the journal here. You were asked if James Crumbley knew it existed, and you indicated that you believe that the answer was that yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you were here for Mr. Hopkins' testimony as well as Mr. Ejak's testimony, of course, you're the officer in charge of the investigation. In that meeting with James Crumbley, did he say journals, plural, or journal as in singular?
Just a singular journal.
Okay. And there were notebooks found in the home, 112 East in Oxford. You saw a picture of that. But were there any other journals found?
There were not.
Okay. And you indicated that you believe that you can tell approximately when the journal entries were written based upon the content?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess we didn't really go over it in direct examination, but there was an incident on November the 4th, 2021 at Oxford High School. Was that referenced in the journal?
It was.
and an incident that occurred November the 11th, 2021, was that referenced?
Yes.
The shooter referenced his friend who left the state October 31st.
He did.
Okay. Was there any indication anywhere in the journal that the 9mm was locked up?
No.
And we saw evidence in this case that the
But how it's
shooter
admissible
obtained
for the
access to
mother
the
is
Caltech
even more
pistol as well.
tangential
Yes.
Okay, and that text message
because
was,
she didn't say
"Look what my
something
dad
like
left
what
out."
journal?
Correct.
And what we have on the screen here, page 3. First off, I got my gun. It's an SP2022 6-hour 9mm. Second, the shooting is tomorrow. We know, of course, the shooting occurred November the 30th, 2021. Can you presume a date on this passage? So this would be November the 21st, presumably. Okay. Second, shooting is tomorrow. I have access
I'm going to put a
the
little
gun
hot
and
honey on
ammo,
this thing and see
of
if it
course,
turns out
we know
better.
that he did obtain that weapon.
We do.
Okay, and we know that the murder weapon from November
Hold on.
30th
I'm
was
curious.
the weapon purchased by James Crumbley on November the 26th, 2020.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
Brief request for three questions. Very brief. And I don't mean to belabor the issue, but when it comes to journals or notebooks, you don't know what James calls a notebook, what he calls a journal. You have no idea. Is that fair?
That's not fair. I do know what he calls a journal because he called it a journal in the meeting with Mr. Hopkins.
Right. He said something about a journal.
He did.
You don't know if he's talking about a notebook. You don't know if he's talking about a journal, like a diary with a lock on it. You have no idea what he's talking about.
I got a pretty good idea he's talking about a journal. That's what I can say.
Right. A journal.
A journal.
The reference to the Caltech that Mr. Keys just asked you about was in August of 2021, correct? He asked about the video that we saw, the text that Mr. Crumbley's son sent to his friend about my dad left it out, LOL, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
That was in August of 21.
Can you show me?
If you recall.
I don't recall.
You don't recall seeing anything from November of 21 in the journal or otherwise saying that Mr. Crumbley's son had access because Mr. Crumbley left a gun out in November of 21 or in the journal, correct?
Ask that again, please.
Sure. You don't recall seeing anything during your investigation from November of 21 that Mr. Crumbley had allegedly left a firearm out in the house and his son talked about it.
This is beyond the scope of my rewriting.
I still don't understand the question.
Sure,
Yeah, the
Your Honor.
honey
Mr.
definitely
Keith
helped.
asked about the
Isn't
text
exactly
that
a
was
cure-all,
sent
but definitely
from
helps.
Mr. Crumbley's son
So,
to his friend about
Good idea,
his
whoever
dad
recommended it.
allegedly leaving the Caltech out.
Okay,
And he filmed a video of himself.
okay.
I'm trying to clarify that that video was in August of 21. I mean, if I need to, I'll pull up the exhibit, but I was just trying to clarify with the detective lieutenant.
Okay, I think if you showed me the exhibit, you'd be able to say, but you stipulated that that was from August of 21?
Are we talking about the Caltech?
Yeah.
Yes, August 18th, 21, and August 20, I'm sorry.
August 9th.
I did it again. August 19th of 21 and August 20th of 21.
Okay, tell you what was in the photos.
Your Honor, they stipulated to the date, so I don't need to ask.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I just, based on that, there was evidence that we introduced in this case that the shooter filmed a video of himself holding the 6-hour 9mm handgun November 26, 2005.
Yes.
Okay. And there were also Instagram posts of him holding that same firearm on the 27th.
That is correct.
Okay. And I think I misspoke earlier. I said November 21st as far as this passage being written. This would actually be November the 29th of 2020.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Judge.
All right, can you be excused?
Yes, Judge.
All right, you can step down and you're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Tell me where we're headed.
We have no further witnesses today. Before we
Good.
officially rest, I'd like the opportunity to review our exhibit list. We had a lot of
right,
modifications.
so the
throughout
state's done.
case.
All right.
We want to confirm with defense counsel what was extracted and added on. And then tomorrow morning, we'll know for sure.
All right, do you want 9 o'clock?
That's fine, Your Honor. Yes.
9 o'clock. All right.
so guys, the defense is going to start its case
I'm
tomorrow.
going to have to return at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Please.
Cool.
Know again that during the trial, you should not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about the case. Under the law, the evidence you consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow this instruction. Do not go on social media, do not post, do not do research, do not discuss the case with anyone. We really appreciate your commitment to this very important job. And we ask you to hang with us just a few more days. We're nearing closings within the week, I would think. Remember to fill out your lunch form for tomorrow. Stay healthy tonight, and don't discuss the case with anyone. Any questions about the schedule? Any questions about that? We appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, to the jury.
Cool. All right. Well, that's the end of the case for today and the end of the state's case in general. So we will now watch together a video that just got posted 2 hours ago from our channel. Well, not my channel, strictly speaking, Attorney Tom's channel, Attorneys React, in which I provide commentary. So let's watch it together and see how I did in the edit.
646.9 is stalking statute. And again, do you have any evidence of that?
All right, let's watch this together and see how this video turned out from our friend's channel, Attorneys React. Cool. Let's do this thing. This is meta because I'm reacting to myself now, but that's okay.
646.9 is stalking statute. And again, do you have any evidence of that?
No.
No evidence of stalking.
Threat statute is 422. Just do you have any evidence that I made criminal threats?
I do not.
No evidence of criminal threats.
I
Good.
have no evidence. Isn't that correct? That I did any of the things that Bridges claim I did. Is that true?
Personally, no.
Personally, that's why you're here.
I'm on civil law for Attorneys React, and today's episode, the officer admits that he doesn't know anything that he put in his report that led to the actions against the suspect. Let's get started with this.
Hey guys, this is a deposition from an El Dorado, California deputy, Marcus Devani, from 2015. The person conducting the deposition is Brian Smith, who was facing multiple misdemeanor charges that the DA decided to pursue based on this deputy's report. Throughout the deposition, the accused gets the deputy to admit that he worded his report as if he had firsthand knowledge of the incidents, but that he
Is there an issue with the audio? There's some problem with the audio.
He'd had no knowledge or evidence of anything he submitted to the DA.
That's certainly how it sounds so far, yeah.
Admits during the deposition that exculpatory evidence existed.
It sounds okay
before
to you?
his report was written,
All right.
that would have exonerated the accused, but that he failed to include that in his report. During the deposition, he also has the nerve to claim that his time is being wasted. This report was a direct cause of the arrest and loss of liberty of the accused Brian Smith. But this deputy, like so many others, takes this very lightly and sees his victim's loss of liberty as no big deal. Just another day at the office.
Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the evidence you shall give in this assured matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Deputy Devaney, in January of 2012, did you conduct an investigation in Calaveras County, California, of alleged hang-up calls to Michelle Carr Bridges?
Yes, I did. So you're asking me if what I wrote in this report is true and accurate?
Yes. Can
Yes,
you name-
yes, it is.
Okay.
Let's find out if that's
you can
true.
say safely that you didn't write any false information about me or my activities or whereabouts?
No, sir. The phone trap revealed the phone numbers from which the annoying phone calls are being made from belong to S. Brian Smith.
That means suspect Smith.
Correct.
Okay, and you stand by that statement, sir?
Yes, sir.
Could you please look at this document? These are the AT&T faxes and letters that you refer to in your report. Okay, well, the phone company, in other words, is telling you in clear, simple language that they don't know who made the prank calls, correct?
That's assumed, yes.
Assumed.
It's assumed. Okay, well, and if you could please take a look at this copy of my telephone bill. Do those numbers correspond? Okay. And the exhibits I've handed you, you admitted to indicate the numbers do not belong to me. Okay. Well, in a nutshell, did you send false information to the district attorney?
No.
You didn't. So you think you think the AT&T is wrong?
This is obviously a separate investigation, but my initial report, when I write it true and correct.
Okay. Based on what?
Saying the phone numbers do belong to me, or they do not belong?
In my original report, I did state that they do belong to you, and in Exhibit 3, they show that they're unidentified or unknown subscriber from AT&T.
So that was false information you provided.
At the time, no.
At the time, no. Well, sir, didn't you represent yourself as having information that you alleged to be true, my telephone numbers, which you did not know to be true?
Again, as it reads in 2012, the phone numbers that I was given were known to be attached to you at that time.
How'd you determine that?
These were from the victims.
Well, yes, I know the victims said it was my phone, and I'm saying that they're not telling the truth. And I'm asking why you reported falsely to the DA that these numbers belong to me.
I don't report false information, sir.
So you're saying the AT&T is incorrect.
You would think AT&T would know who the numbers belong to, if anybody.
What color is my house in San Francisco?
I do not know.
Where is it located?
I have no idea.
No idea. Would you refer, please, to paragraph 3 and read the last sentence? Smith frequents
the Bay Area where he has another home.
Well, did you write that?
I did.
Well, is it true? The next to the last.
If you have no idea where he lives, how do you know he lives in the Bay Area?
If you consider the last sentence a paragraph. Michelle told me that nothing is ever said on the phone. Well, there you make a difference. You say, Michelle told you this, correct?
Correct.
And that's differentiated from the fact that you don't say that in the previous statements in the same report. Is that correct?
I don't start my sentence with Michelle told me, correct.
My question is, did you say in a declarative way that Smith frequents the Bay Area where he has another home?
Yes.
You didn't say the alleged victims claim that Mr. Smith frequents the Bay Area where he has another home, did you?
It's assumed in this report because that's the style I'm writing.
Oh, no, my friend. No. That is not how that works, right? If you want to write, victim reports in your report, then yeah, that's how you got that information, victim reports. You can't say Smith lives in the Bay Area unless you know that somehow. And he said, well, I have no idea where you live. I have no idea what color your house is. I have no clue. But the report is written declaratively. You live here. Okay. And then he asked the question, well, how do you know that? How do I live there? Because you don't know where I live. And he's like, well, I got it from the victim. But the report doesn't say that. There's a big difference on that, right? The victim is the one reporting and then all the rest of it. And you didn't disclose that AT&T had said these numbers don't belong to the individual. That's information you apparently got from the victim. So what you should have said in your report is victim reports that she knows these numbers. However, AT&T reports that they don't know who the numbers belong to. They're unsure. And then a judge can weigh them. So you left out the potentially exculpatory information that you knew about. You knew about this AT&T report, right? That they say that they can't figure out who the number belongs to. And you didn't put that in your report, potentially exculpatory. And now you're writing declarative things. This person lives here when you yourself lack knowledge of that. You're basing it off what someone else told you. You have to put that in the report.
You're arguing with them again.
Who assumes that?
I assume that then.
Oh, you assume it. Well, do you think the DA assumes it?
Does the DA assume that's your style?
Why do you think the alleged victims claimed I have a house in the Bay Area that I frequent?
That's what they stated.
But and I'm asking you, in your experience as an officer, why do you think they'd say something like that?
I have no idea, sir.
You have no idea, and yet you made that statement.
Correct.
You have no idea why they say it, so you don't think it's sufficiently reliable. Nice touch.
To make me appear that I had the financial means to engage in sophisticated harassment? Do you think that could have been it?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, do you think they might have said that because they searched my name on the internet and came up with just a name like Smith and put that in there?
I can't assume that.
So you have no idea why they say that?
No, sir.
You think they could have been lying?
It's possible.
What do you think is likely?
Anything's possible.
Possible that your report is
it says
illegal.
Christopher Hewitt, Sergeant Hewitt approved the report. What does that mean exactly?
That means that my capacity at this point was a deputy. I took the report. Once I've completed the report, I submit it for review. and the sergeant will review the report and then approve it and sign his name at the bottom.
He'll review the report, so he'll read it.
Yes, sir.
And how is it that, do you think, that he was unable to see these AT&T communications reflecting the fact
Good
that
question.
they don't know who made the calls?
I can't assume that.
You can't assume it?
I'm not Sergeant Hewitt, sir.
Uh-huh.
You didn't tell him though.
Well, does he usually make up stuff, do you think?
I don't know what you're talking about making up.
Well, it's not my house. It's not my telephone numbers.
Two judges at different times. So
Please, sir, please don't make speaking objections. It's unethical.
I'm asking you if that's included in the.
Please don't interrupt the a deposition, Mr. Foley.
It's an incomplete question.
Isn't it past your cocktail hour?
Close.
Well, yeah, I know. And I
Nice.
referred to you on the internet as a drunken criminal. Is that true?
I don't know. What are you?
Are you a drunken criminal, Kenny?
You have been subject to two separate civil.
Right. And you're a liar, and I passed the polygraph, Mr. Foley. They are accurate, Mr. Foley. You're dirty, and this case is dirty, and you know it.
Nice. I like the way he says
You
that. It's very
testified-
nice.
You state under oath that this is a clean case? Answer the question. It's a clean case.
So as
Well,
Jack
would you please
Nicholson
stop
said,
interrupting, Mr. Foley?
and a few good men.
Please stop making speaking objections. Well, you're right. Smith has not been able to be questioned regarding this case.
Correct.
And what does that mean exactly?
That means that I have not been able to contact you in regards to your statement related to this report that I took.
What steps did you take to try?
Well, in the course and scope of your daily activities as a deputy sheriff, do you have access to a pencil?
Yes.
Do you have access to a telephone?
Yes.
You know I live in a rural area. Could you have left a note on my gate?
I have never been to your house, sir.
Well, wouldn't my address be on the paperwork?
It would.
Well, sir, now you know that the telephone company says they don't know who belonged to those phone numbers, right?
As of, I believe, December 2nd, 2011 at 2:30, yes.
A month before you wrote your report.
Okay.
That's the critical thing, right? You knew before you wrote the report. And that's information that's potentially exonerating. Again, the whole thing is balanced, right? So can you use hearsay? Sure. Can you use information that's a little unclear? Sure, because often in investigations, things aren't always clear. Depending on your stage of the investigation, things can be a little murky. That's okay. The law doesn't require very much, but it does require you to be honest about it. And this cop is purposefully, deliberately being misleading in his applications to his sergeant, who then relies on it to give it to the prosecutor, who then relies on it to give it to the judge. So the whole chain is corrupted because of this guy. Let's watch more.
Could you not have easily acquired my telephone number to call me?
I could have, but
Wow, this commentator is really good, man. This commentator is really good. We should definitely hear some more from him. Really, really sharp commentator.
the numbers I was provided is what I attempt.
Right. And so you didn't. You could have, but you didn't.
These were the numbers I was provided, and these were the numbers that I attempted calls to.
Right. So could you answer my question? You could have, but you didn't.
If I was given the phone number, correct. Yes, just make sure that you're not asking me leading questions as well.
Well, please don't give me advice, if you don't mind. You're testifying that you did not ask them for my telephone number so that you could call me.
I don't recall the exact conversation that this report was generated from now.
So when you say that Mr. Smith has not been able to be questioned, would you call that a true statement?
Yes.
Even though you decided not to pursue the matter?
You're asking me a question based on asking if I had spoke to you in this matter at this time, and I did not.
Well, so you go on to say there's no further leads regarding his location in Calaveras County besides his address. Is that correct?
Correct.
So what does that mean exactly? You know where I live. You can get a hold of my telephone number. So what, did you think I was flying around in a Learjet?
At this time, I was not provided an address. And
did you look for one?
That's exactly what I stated.
Did you try?
Yes, sir. My address would be on the documents connected with the case, wouldn't they?
I would assume they would.
So you have the address.
That there's a restraining order granted. It would be on that as well, wouldn't it?
Correct.
And you say in your report that you're including that. You had access to that in the report that you sent to the DA's office, correct?
Correct.
Well, sir, you don't think
So
that
you have
the
the
way you
report, the
wrote
address.
that you sent to the DA, no further leads, isn't that just a fancy way of saying you were too busy to do an investigation?
That is my way of saying that I've investigated this as far as I could at the time.
You could have gone further. You had the address, sir.
Getting no further leads regarding his location. It sounds like you're in an international manhunt. It sounds like a dramatic way of saying that, you didn't want to leave a note at my gate or telephone. Would you agree with that?
Get wrecked.
Not completely, no.
Get wrecked.
Not completely, okay, but partially. In general, sir, would you say it's best to talk to the accused man before you have him arrested when there are no witnesses to the alleged misdemeanor?
If it's possible, yes.
Mm-hmm. And you're not saying that in this case it was impossible. You're just saying you didn't do it. Is that correct?
Correct. In this report, I did not. No, I understand that, but
So you violated your own sense of best practices. That's nice.
Continuously, then at some point, I do have to leave today.
Well, sir, I'm not wasting your time. You realize I was arrested and I'm being prosecuted.
I understand that.
The cop accuses the guy of wasting his time. No, he's doing a pretty good job. This cop apparently doesn't recognize that he's doing a good job. He's exposing this cop to be a liar who apparently lies to his own sergeant, apparently just misleads things, puts things in his report, saying things that are declarative when he himself doesn't know it, doesn't indicate how he got the information. It does not provide the potentially exculpatory information. AT&T looked into it and they couldn't figure out where the phone numbers came from. Did you have my address? No. Wasn't it on the restraining orders that you included in your report? Yes, it was. So you did have my address. Well, we couldn't figure it out. We couldn't put two and two together. This cop is a liar. He's being exposed as a liar. I'm not sure he recognizes that he's being exposed as a liar. This cop is full of it. Let's watch some more.
Real quick, I just wanted to say that
Nice.
Attorney Tom / Attorney Reacts
Not bad.
content is now on Spotify. We just
Is
legitimate.
link in the description. Go check it out. Now back to the video.
Think I have a legitimate interest to ask you why you wrote all this stuff?
You do, but what Mr. Foley's alleging is what I feel that you're doing is you're asking me questions that I can't honestly answer because I have no personal knowledge of.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
Well, you have no personal knowledge because you
It's like, you're asking me questions I don't have personal knowledge of. It's your report. The fact that you don't have personal knowledge of it is, in fact, the problem. Because it's your report. It has to be things that you know. How do you know these things? I don't know these things. Oh, okay. Now, isn't that a problem? Sounds like a problem to me.
Thorough investigation.
You're asking me?
Have you received any instruction or training with regard to writing incident reports?
Yes.
Where did you receive this instruction?
Where?
Where, yes.
In the academy and in on-the-job training.
Well, you were instructed on the importance of writing a true and accurate report, correct?
Correct.
And you think it's especially important to write a complete and accurate report when the accused man could face years in prison?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that the district attorney and judges use police reports in order to establish probable cause to file criminal complaints?
Yes.
They sure do.
And judges use police reports to issue search warrants and restraining orders.
Okay, what does this have to do?
Sir, these are valid questions, and if you're going to make speaking objections, go off the record. Mr. Foley, these are classic questions in any evidence course, and you should know that.
Nice bird.
You know,
Well, would you get it? Would you score on your boards?
I'm an attorney.
What did you score on your boards?
About 540.
Oh, geez, it shows, it figures. Should a true and accurate report include exculpatory evidence? In other words, evidence that tends to clear the accused man of wrongdoing.
Yes.
Plate glass window of her office was broken. So she's accusing me of that, correct? Or she wouldn't have included it in her.
Oh, it's not highlighted in my copy, but yes, I see where that's written.
Okay. So you see where she's accused me of that.
I believe that's just a statement of fact that a plate glass window was broken at their office.
Right, but she would not have included this if she did not think I was responsible, correct?
Correct.
Okay, then it goes on, the next paragraph, also in 2008, her window was broken again. Do you have any evidence that I did that?
I don't know.
And so in other words, you have no evidence of that?
No.
And then in 2000,
evidence would be helpful.
Through the front windshield of the Bridges' car. Do you see that, sir?
I do.
And do you have any evidence that I would do that?
No.
Then if you could please look at, well, does it seem like she's basically included everything that's she's had to endure through the years, every problem she's had?
I assume so. Yes, this is pretty extensive.
Are you aware that she's been through almost 30 lawsuits during this period?
No.
Wow, that's a lot.
Do you think someone whom she evicted or with whom she's had a lawsuit would be angry enough to break her windows?
It's possible.
And they could be suspects.
Correct.
In caps.
That might be helpful information,
She
though.
claims that I'm violating Penal Code Section 646.9, Section 422 of the Penal Code, and a section of federal statutes, which doesn't apply in this case anyway. Do you see that, sir?
I do.
Well, 646.9 is stalking statute. And again, do you have any evidence of that?
No.
Criminal threat statute is 422. Do you have any evidence that I made criminal threats?
I do not.
Good. Going just that well, guys. Going great.
Okay, well, do you think that Mrs. Bridges was acting reasonably and in good faith when she executed the citizen's arrest document?
Yes.
But you have no evidence, isn't that correct, that I did any of the things that Bridges claim I did? Is that true?
Personally, no.
Okay, and well, personally, that's why you're here.
Sure is.
Would you have any impersonal knowledge that I committed any of these alleged misdemeanors?
No.
Well, my friends, this has been an entertaining ride and an entertaining deposition for sure. This cop is a liar who has apparently no problem about lying on reports. He fails to include potentially exculpatory information, which he knew about a month before he wrote the report. Hey, AT&T can't figure out where this number, who's calling you. They can't figure out where the calls are coming from, but he doesn't exclude that. He puts things declaratively. This person lives in the Bay Area, but he doesn't know it. He's getting it from the witness, or from the complainant rather, and he doesn't say that's where he gets it. And he doesn't have any personal knowledge or information that the person who's doing the deposition has actually committed any crimes. He doesn't know these things. So the information he gave to a sergeant, which was passed on to the police officer, which was passed on to the judge, issued a bad decision because they were given bad information because this guy lied. And as I pointed out, because complaints are issued under penalty of perjury, this guy has perjured himself. So the cop doesn't seem to realize all the bad things that this person has exposed and is being quite arrogant about the whole thing, but maybe he'll come to pass. But it is nice to see that the cop was hoisted on his own arrogant petard. So that is encouraging. Until next time, for everyone, I've been Uncivil That Law. worked out I pretty hope you well. have a great one.
Until
later, my friends.
I'm pleased with that.
Goodbye.
Big verdict.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well. I'm pretty pleased by that. I think that's a good video. That is a good video. Not bad. Well edited. It's fun. It's fun. Oh, we had a good time. Yeah, evidence would be nice, right? You just have to be honest. You just have to be honest. They cut out some of my discussion about it. But in a warrant application, whether it's a search warrant or an arrest warrant, you can have hearsay. You can even have hearsay upon hearsay if it's sufficiently reliable, although of course your jurisdiction may vary. But you have to just be clear about where the things came from so that the judge can judge. That's what they do, right? Oh, I heard it from this person. This person heard it from this person. Right? Or so whatever it is, right? You just have to be honest. And you have to also include any exculpatory information you happen to have. You don't necessarily have to go look for it, but if you happen to have it, you have to include it. And so this guy's like, he's not making clear where he's getting the information from. He's getting it from the complainant, and he has no other information validating the information. He has no other information that verifies the complainant, apparently. So on what basis is he determining the complainant is reliable? What is his basis for determining that this complainant is sufficiently reliable? You know, because what details does she have, or what can she use to back it? And she doesn't apparently have anything. She's just saying things. Those things may be true, but you know, you gotta go, you know, like actually investigate. And AT&T is like, well, we can't figure it out. Oh, what am I supposed to do now? I don't know. Maybe go down to his home and see if he'll talk to you. I don't know. What else you're supposed to do? Maybe do things. Maybe get some information that shows somehow that this information is reliable and can be depended on. Enough for a search warrant or arrest warrant or whatever the hell it is you're trying to do, right? And you have to include, oh, by the way, and even if you do all those things, right? Even if somehow you're able to tie it in, that it's his phone number. Even if somehow you're able to tie it in, you still have to put in the application. By the way, yes, I was able to verify his phone number was in fact this because of this reason, this reason, this reason. However, also AT&T was unable to figure it out because it's exculpatory. Now, maybe AT&T doesn't know how to find their head up their ass So maybe AT&T is, being a dum-dum that day, but you still got to include it, right? It's like, this is failing at the basics. And because you're not including these things, and because you're not giving the judge the correct picture, the judge is making the wrong decision because the judge is being fed bad information. So, yeah, don't do that. The 30 lawsuits also, like this woman's been involved in 30 lawsuits. You think maybe one of those people might be mad? You think maybe one of those people might be responsible in some way? What do you mean I'm arrive? I'm already where I'm at. Where do you think I'm going to? Oh, you're still trying to get me to go to the micro center. Yeah, cops lie. Don't lie. Don't lie. Don't lie. Just tell the truth. Why would you lie? Just don't lie. Just tell the truth. Yeah. Don't lie. Didn't we learn that one in like, don't bear false witness against yourself? How about that one? I remember that one is one of the 10 commandments. Don't bear false witness against your neighbor. How about that? Anyone remember that one? That's a pretty good rule. Yeah. But how they convict people? Well, a lot of ways. Because the truth would out. They would convict people because that would be the truth. The word verdict means truth. Veritas. Truth. Because the truth will out. That's how you would convict people. Because they deserve to be convicted. Yeah. What's my stance on jailhouse snitches? I mean, no particular stance in the abstract. No particular sense, no particular thing in the abstract. I don't know how to answer that question. But yeah. Yeah, that was smart. That was sarcasm? Yeah, I know it was sarcasm. I was just like, all right, I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to take a break, and then I got actual legal work to do. So, but I will be on with MLS. So I'll take a break, then I'll go on with MLS for a little while, and then I've got actual legal work to do for a little while. I've got to start reading so that I can advise my client properly. Yeah. All right, I'll actually start reading now. I'll take a little break, and I'll do a little reading now. All right, I got to take a break. I'll talk to you guys later. Until later, my friends, hope all's well. Cheers, my friends, and goodbye.